specifically some forward Indian air bases, and now India in response hitting back and successfully targeting some Pakistani Air Force air bases. This is now a definitive climbing off the escalation ladder. Put it into perspective for our viewers.
Well, absolutely, Zaka. What government sources just told me that, when we attacked Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, we did not target any military installation. These were all terror targets under Operation Sindoor. It is Pakistan which started off 2 days back, by first attacking our military installations, trying to send these drones, to attack the Jammu airport, the other Bhatinda air station, which was mentioned yesterday in the briefing as well, that Pakistan tried to target. It is Pakistan which started it. But yes, over the last 2 nights, what the drones which were sent by Pakistan were more, as you were correctly saying, not were armed, many were not armed. These was most of an intel exercise to assess the capability of our air defense systems, more like a recce missions, which government sources are saying the real attack was kept off till the IMF bailout happened. Soon after the IMF bailout has happened last night, Pakistan has actually launched its operation by trying to target our air bases, and that is why India has retaliated and done this big strike, especially at the Rawalpindi Air Force Base, because that is a major Air Force base of Pakistan. By attacking that, India has shown its capability that Pakistan should immediately de-escalate, because what Pakistan is doing is actually to escalate the situation by trying to target our Air Force bases, our military stations. India did not do that in Operation Sindoor. Our strike was only against the terrorist infrastructure. But Pakistan, by its response, especially today morning, and this news that a ballistic missile was fired towards Delhi is an open, I would say, Zaka, proclamation of war by Pakistan. And, India will respond in greater strength now. That is what sources are telling me, that India will not stop now unless Pakistan stops, because we are committed to defend our military installations, and this kind of an attack by Pakistan will be responded very, very strongly, and we'll hear that, Zaka, from the FS at 10 a.m.
All right, so the Foreign Secretary briefing is going to be at 10 a.m. Likely that he will be flanked by both the Indian Air Force and Indian Army officers, the lady officers. Let's try and bring you up to speed with what India has done in response overnight. It has hit multiple air bases. The biggest one, of course, is the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi. Rawalpindi, of course, is where the general headquarters of the Pakistan Army is based. This is the heart of the Pakistani Fauj, and it has hit the biggest air base in Rawalpindi, the Noor Khan Air Base. It's also hit an air base in Chakwal, that's also in Punjab. There have been smaller drone attacks in the outskirts of Islamabad. We've had a couple of attacks in Narowal, in Lahore, in Sheikhpura, etc. There's also the Rafiki Air Base in Sialkot, which is in southern Punjab. This has also been hit. So 3 major air bases from Noor Khan and Murid Air Base in Chakwal, the one in Rawalpindi, the Sialkot Air Base, the Rafiki Air Base, and there is a smaller airport, the Sukur Airport in Sindh. So Punjab and Sindh, these are the 2 heartland provinces. They make up for the bulk of Pakistan. Both of those places have been hit. Some of these smaller blasts have been through what they call loitering munitions, these suicide drones, these LMS drones. But some of the bigger attacks on the Air Force stations, we can show that Noor Khan base attack, the Rawalpindi Air Base attack, that was through a major ballistic missile. We're also getting more breaking news. This, of course, in response to what Pakistan has tried to do in India, getting breaking news that there have been at least 3 blasts that have been reported in Udhampur at the military base there. It's again one of our forward bases. There has been some degree of damage. The damage assessment is being done right now. There has been shelling, and this is, of course, keeping the LOC active and hot. There's been massive heavy artillery shelling that's been going on across Sialkot, Jammu, Nowshera, as well as Rajouri. Let me go across to Ishan with more details on this. So Ishan, the activity, the heavy artillery shelling is happening now, not just across the LC, but also happening across the international border. Akash has more on that. So Akash, Udhampur Air Force Station, I believe, has suffered some damage. What the extent of the damage is, we don't know. They're assessing that right now. But more importantly, there's also heavy artillery fire across the international boundary, Sialkot, Jammu, Nowshera, as well as the Poonch Rajouri sector.
Right, so a ceasefire violation is there, at the LC, but yes, Udhampur was one target, and Manoj Gupta is, reporting in fact that how, Udhampur has got hit. in fact, but in fact there were sounds in the Udhampur, and there we have the headquarters of the Northern Army Command, and that's why it is very crucial place. It was on target, in fact, day before yesterday. In fact, yesterday it was on target, but we have no confirmation of the hit. But yes, three sounds have been heard, in fact, from this particular location. Also, Zaka, in Jammu, I'm learning about a civilian location being hit. They are targeting civilian population, while the attack on the Air Force station or the airbase was thwarted. I'm learning that in Jammu we have some civilian casualty, possibly injuries, or I should say, in some time from now we'll have confirmation. But we have air sirens once again here in Jammu, and Zaka, they are today they are launching the ballistic missiles. We know that how they have Fatah series, which has got 120 kilometers of range, and they possibly have been launching the Fatah missiles. And in fact, there is a plan of further escalation, given the fact that DG ISPR addressed the press conference and said a number of things which in fact have not been confirmed by Indian Armed Forces. At around 10 AM we'll be having confirmation. But yes, artillery fire has been going on in Srinagar. The explosive sounds are in fact very much there, in fact have been heard by the locals, and Ishan has been reporting from there. In Poonch area, shelling has been happening at the line of control, where we have reported that how civilian population was targeted, a Gurudwara was targeted. In Rajouri as well.
Akash, just stay on with us. I'm going to come back to you in just 1 second. I want to bring our viewers up to speed and give them a degree of reassurance as well that Pakistan has been attempting to hit multiple Indian Air Force bases, forward air bases, but the good news that I can share with you is that all are safe. There's been relatively minor damage that has happened, no casualties, no fatalities in any of these installations. The Pathankot forward air base, the Jammu Air Force station, the Udhampur Air Force station, all are safe. That is the word that we have from top government sources. All three of our forward air bases are safe. All personnel have been accounted for, whatever minor damage assessment is going on, but all three air bases are safe. Arunima has more on this. So Arunima, that's the big picture. Pakistan trying to attack India's forward air bases. All of them are safe. In retaliation, India targeting some of Pakistan's air bases. The Noor Khan air base up in Rawalpindi is one of the biggest that they have in the country, and that has been hit badly. You can see from those pictures. Arunima.
Successfully targeting Pakistan is what we are hearing as well. One must underline that officially at 10 AM, we are expecting location by location, coordinate by coordinate briefing by the Ministry of External Affairs. Most likely Foreign Secretary will take the podium once again, along with the two officers from the Indian Army and the women officers from the Indian Army and the Air Force. But what we are being told is that even though Pakistan attempted to attack Pathankot, they attempted to carry out attacks in Udhampur and also in Jammu. All these three air bases, the air assets were targeted, but Indian Air Defence managed to thwart all these three attacks at Jammu, Udhampur, Pathankot. No damage done. All our assets are safe. There's no casualty, no injury to any personnel present in the in the air base complex.
All right. Arunima, we'll try and come back to you as you try and, look, reporters are spread all across the country, particularly in some of these points that have been hit or attempted to be hit by Pakistan. There has been cross LC as well as cross IB firing. This is heavy artillery shelling that Pakistan has been undertaking for the last couple of nights at least. In the Jammu, Poonch, Rajouri, that sector, in Sirankot, in Nowshera, as well as in Rajouri, overnight there's been heavy artillery shelling. Ishan is there with us with more details on that. So just break this down for us. There's been an attempt to hit some of the forward air stations. All of those have been thwarted, but at the same time, Pakistan is also using heavy artillery fire, both across the LC as well as across the IB.
Well, absolutely right, Zaka. Even it started yesterday before the sunset. Generally, they would fire towards Indian positions after sunset, but yesterday they started firing at around 4:30, and then India had to retaliate. This is happening in Uri, this is happening in Keran, Tangdar, Kupwara. Every place in line of control has been impacted by the ceasefire violation. People have been moved, people have been taken out to safer locations and safer shelters, and now we are hearing that the exchange is still happening on the line of control. Look, what we have also heard is that there have been, at least 3 sounds that have been heard in Srinagar. Srinagar, which has woken up people. We are getting messages from people, but we should tell our viewers that there is no need to panic, because there's a lot of panic around after hearing those sounds around Srinagar and other parts as well, as a possibility that they might be also trying to hit India's important assets in Jammu and Kashmir. Yesterday they tried to attack through drones by sending drones to a couple of locations which are very important for the defense forces, but they were immediately the air defense system ensured that they are brought down. Sources told us at least 8 drones were seen around Srinagar, Baramulla and Avantipur, which hosts one of the big air bases of Indian Air Force in Udhampur. So they try to attack the vital assets.
All right, so Ishan, we'll come back to you. There's some forward air bases, including Udhampur, Pathankot, I believe even Udhampur again in Haryana, which is again a forward air base, has also been tried to be hit. Akash, what are top Ministry of Defense officials, Indian Army, Indian Air Force officials telling you? Clearly, I think Pakistan is climbing the escalation ladder, no doubt about it. That has been the attempt. The attempt has also been to try and target some of India's forward air bases and Air Force stations. All of those attempts have been thwarted by India. India, in response, of course, has successfully carried out major strikes from the Noor Khan Air Base to the Chakwal Air Base to the Rafiki Air Base. Tell us what you're picking up from top defense sources. Like I said, the attempts at the Air Force stations, the forward Air Force stations in Udhampur, in Pathankot, in Jammu and Sirsa, in all these 4 places have been thwarted by India's air defense systems.
Right, you rightly pointed out the Air Force stations in Jammu and Pathankot specifically are safe, and in fact I am learning that there is in fact some sort of damage in some civilian infrastructure. We'll get it confirmed by the civilian authorities as well. But till now all attempts in fact have been thwarted, and Dhaka armed forces in fact are very much capable and ready. This is what the defense sources are telling us. In fact, at around 10 a.m. we'll get the official word as to what they did last night, and also what is the sort of retaliation that they are planning now, given the fact that Pakistan is launching ballistic missiles and has shown that they want to escalate it further. Dhaka, we have been seeing that how from last 48 hours, in fact in the last 72 hours, a number of things have happened. Specifically, we talk about the current times. Yesterday it was happening in the night hours, but today in the early morning hours we have been seeing these attacks specifically targeted towards Udhampur and Jammu, because in Udhampur we have one military base, and there we have constant sounds here. In fact, in Jammu, ballistic missile is what has been tried here in Jammu as well. It was tried for Delhi, it was tried for one location in Haryana, very crucial location in Haryana. I am not putting out the details right now, but very crucial location is being targeted there in Haryana as well. It has been thwarted, all safe. In fact, as far as the assets are concerned, so all our air assets are safe. In fact, they have been trying, the core headquarters of Leh, I'm told, and in fact last night it was tried, but it was thwarted once again. Air defense is in play. In Udhampur, we are learning, several, sounds, in fact, but we have no confirmation on the sort of explosions that are being reported from that particular location. In Punjab also, they have been trying, they have been launching their ballistic missiles for Punjab. In fact, especially in Pathankot, also because of the sort of air defense we have in Pathankot, they might have some sort of input of the sort of platforms that we have in Pathankot, and that's the reason why Pathankot is being targeted, and is a very important Air Force establishment there that we have in Pathankot, and also in Srinagar, Dhaka, launches are there. And we have been learning that since ceasefire violation is happening throughout the LC, so army is also retaliating to that. We are having ceasefire violation in Rajouri, Poonch, Mendhar, and in fact in Kathua also I'm learning that violation is there, but since we have the international border there, so we are waiting for the confirmation BSF, whether or not BSF is engaged in any sort of firing, because till now it is limited more on LC, line of control. In Uri and in other areas of the Kashmir, we have been learning about the ceasefire, but specifically in Poonch we have this heavy shelling going on.
Okay, I want to bring our viewers up to speed on what Pakistan has attempted to do over the last 6 hours or so, and this is specifically right after the amp up of the IMF bailout announcement that happened. So here are some of our forward Air Force stations and air bases. Udhampur, of course, is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. massive military station there. It's the headquarters, like I said. It is, of course, very critical for the entire Jammu region as well as the Poonch Rajouri region. But Udhampur, there's been some attempt by Pakistan to try and cause damage at the Air Force station there, at the military base there, but that has been thwarted. Also at the Jammu Air Force station, there has been an attempt by the Pakistanis to try and attack the Air Force station. Again, I can report to you there is very little, minimal damage there. The Air Force station is very much functional. Pathankot is one of our forward air bases, one of the largest in the country. It's on the outskirts of Pathankot city. It is literally on the border with Pakistan. Remember, in 2016, it was the Pathankot Air Force station that was attacked in a terrorist attack. Of course, that after that attack, India tried to give access to an ISI team for a joint investigation. That investigation really did not go any further. This is a massive Air Force station, one of the biggest, one of our forward air bases. And then, of course, there is the Sirsa Air Station as well, part of the Western Command of the Indian Air Force. So these four installations have been tried to be breached by Pakistan overnight. All of it has been unsuccessful. I can report to you that all of our forward air bases, Air Force stations and military bases are safe. If at all there is minimal damage, assessment of which is being done in Udhampur, which is of course the headquarters of Indian Army's Northern Command. I want to go across to Arunima. So Arunima, paint the picture for us. At about 6:30, as our viewers are waking up to this Saturday morning, it seems very clear that Pakistan has attempted to go up the escalation ladder. They want to try and take this to the next level. They've been sending in missiles, they've been sending in drones that are fitted with explosives, trying to take out some of India's air bases. All of those attempts have been thwarted. India, in response, has taken out, I'm given to understand, at least 3 frontline air bases of the Pakistan Air Force. What is the big picture this Saturday morning?
Yes, so the source-based information that we have, first thing first, Indians should just have trust in our defence forces. It's all good, it's all safe. Attempts that were made at Pathankot, Udhampur, Jammu, all attempts thwarted. There was an attempt and misadventure towards the national capital of Delhi as well, over Sirsa. I think even that has been, the Fateh missile has been intercepted. So that national capital is safe as well. But what is it that we have done in terms of retaliatory action in Pakistan? Some details just coming in. What we are being told by sources is that there was a calibrated and purposeful military target hit, and the adversary has got a bloody nose after those 26 locations in India that Pakistan targeted last night as well. The Noor Khan Air Base, it was hit. We have been reporting this since morning, Zaka. The strikes have happened near the vicinity of Joint Staff Headquarters at Chakala as well. So there is source-based confirmation coming to that. The jugular of Pakistan, the 14 Corps with 10 and 11 Division in Lahore, that has been targeted, and we are specifically being told that Lahore was struck because they were trying to strike Amritsar. Of course, our air defence took down the attempts against Amritsar as well, but in retaliation, Lahore was struck. Assets of the 15th Division at Sialkot has been activated, is also what our forces are learning, but they are fully prepared. But Siddhant is also here with me. If you can give me a moment, I want to get in his views. What has happened overnight, the ramifications of it as far as diplomatic quarters are concerned?
Well, you know, Arunima, I look at it, in fact, Zaka was also pointing out, they were waiting for the IMF bailout, and there's no doubt about it. There were a lot of international pressure which India could manage to build, you know, on the committee which sanctions it. There is no vote provision there. In fact, India has abstained. IMF has taken note of India's abstention. But how I look at it is in a way that, you know, what they did yesterday was perhaps a recce. This is what I was told. They sent their drones, whether they were armed or they were not armed, I really don't have much idea about it, but 300 and 400 drones were sent just to locate our air defense systems, and perhaps we fooled them again.
Yes, I can add information to that. 500 drones across 24 locations. Most did not have weapon, looked like a surveillance and prodding exercise.
Yes, and you know what we really fooled them yesterday. In fact, I was told by top sources in government of India, we even didn't use all our air defense systems. We shot them down with the aircraft guns. This is what I'm being told. And you know, that was a recce which they did yesterday. They created a lot of panic. They created a lot of noise around it. In fact, there was to camouflage their operation yesterday night. What they did was they did a press conference. They invited foreign media. In fact, they you know, I was going through all that content last evening, Arunima. So you know, they kind of said that what India is doing, you know, they kind of they did spread lie against India in those press conferences. You know, that was kind of a camouflage they wanted to do. But the idea was to struck India today, Arunima, and you know, we thwarted all their attempts. Perhaps what Arunima is reporting for us is that all our bases are safe, and we have hit them harder this time around.
Yes. So that I think the body language, Zaka, I once again want you to point out to that Rajnath Singh picture that we got yesterday morning with the 3 service chiefs and the Chief of Defence Staff. The CDS was present, the Defence Secretary was present. That showed, you know, combat uniform, all 3 chiefs were in there, but the body language was confidence, they were smiling, and that is, I think, because they were prepared. They were quite aware of what Pakistan was up to, and they were prepared, and that preparation has held us in good stead early this morning.
All right, so I can also report to you that there was some attempt to try and disrupt the civil as well as the technical airport in Jammu. Those attempts have been thwarted by the Indian air defense systems. Remember, so the big picture is Pakistan has been trying to take out some of India's forward military bases as well as some forward air force stations. The attempt has been on some of the biggest ones. Pathankot is one of the biggest and a forward air base that we have. It was also the scene of the 2016 terror attack. That attack has been thwarted. There was some attempt at the Jammu Air Force Station. That has also been thwarted. And then, of course, the Air Force Station in Sirsa, which has also been thwarted. In response, India has attacked the Noor Khan Air Base, of course, which earlier used to be called the Chakala Air Base of Pakistan, one of the biggest just in Rawalpindi, in the heart of the general headquarters, is barely, you know, a few kilometers away, the general headquarters of the Pakistan military. So this hits right at the heart of the Pakistani military. But I can report to you that whether it was Udhampur, whether it was Jammu, whether it was Sirsa, whether it was Pathankot, whether it was some of these forward air force stations that India has, the attempt by Pakistan has been foiled. India has retaliated in good measure and targeted some very frontline air force stations of Pakistan. There has been, of course, increased shelling as well, heavy artillery shelling both across the line of control as well as across the international border. There has been some shelling in some civilian areas in Jammu, but I can report to you, so far at least, there are no confirmations on any civilian casualties yet. Akash is also through with us. Akash, so where you are in Jammu, there's been an attempt to try and hit the Air Force Station there, but that has been negated. What are you hearing in terms of where all India has hit Pakistan, particularly the Noor Khan Air Base, which used to be the Chakala Air Base before, one of the biggest. It's right in the heart of Rawalpindi. It's close to their general headquarters. That would not have gone well. And those pictures, that video, I think somebody there, that's the third picture that you're seeing on the right of your screen, somebody capturing that on your mobile phone saying, Bhaijan, they've hit the Noor Khan Air Base. Just walk us through what India has done in response to this very hot night between both countries.
Right. So Noor Khan Air Base, you rightly pointed out, in Chakala of Rawalpindi, near Islamabad, has got critical air assets. Zaka, I was mentioning it earlier that how their transport aircrafts as well as their military fighter jets are very much there. They're operating there. Several drones are in fact from there, and we have been told that in fact, the air assets in that particular Air Force stations were on target and have been hit successfully. And also, Sialkot Air Force Air Base, in fact, which is in Punjab, it has got JF-17 Thunder aircraft, F-7PG, and several other air assets as well. It was hit, and in fact, we are not learning about the airstrip, but yes, the air assets was on target, and the target was successfully hit. In fact, we are learning about Murid Air Base that is in Chakwal of Punjab. This is a smaller airbase, but is technically important airbase, and we have been told that primarily supports training and secondary operations. And the drone attack that was launched towards India was very much supported from this particular Air Force station, and we have been told that it has got fighter jets and possibly some drones as well, and it was successfully targeted by Indian forces, Indian Armed Forces. So these three Air Force stations we have got confirmation for several air assets, and in fact the infrastructure was on target and it was successfully hit by the Indian Armed Forces. Also in retaliation, now Pakistan is trying to make a dent, and in fact is trying to hit our Air Force stations, but they are not successful till now. And our air defense is very much working, 80 guns, and in fact the systems that we have is very much working. It's the daytime now. We have been seeing the escalation particularly in the night time from last 24 to 48 hours, but will it continue in the daytime as well? What will be the next future course of action as far as India is
Akash,
concerned?
I'm sorry to interrupt. The image
And
that I'm showing on the left is also from Jammu. It's a civilian area. There is a temple called the Shambhu temple in Jammu. We're given to understand there's been a projectile that's hit. We don't know if it's a drone or a missile, but a projectile has hit just outside the temple. No casualties. That is the important thing. You can see the remnants of the wreckage there. This is mobile phone footage that's been shot by one of the individuals there. You can see the wreckage that's strewn all over the place. This is called the Shambhu temple in Jammu. Again, the good news is that there is no casualties there. There you can see the main gate, the pillars leading into the temple. So on the outside perimeter of the temple complex, there's been a projectile hit. Again, the good news being that there is no reports of any civilian casualties in the Shambhu temple attack. Aman is also joining us. Again, I want to go big picture for our viewers who are tuning in a little past 6:30 this morning, this Saturday morning. There has been a visible amping up by Pakistan. India has retaliated. Pakistan's attempts have been foiled. The attempt was to try and target some of our forward air bases in Pathankot, in Jammu, the military station in Udhampur, etc. But all of that has been foiled, Aman. In response, India has hit back with a combination of drones as well as missiles, and some of the Air Force station attacks in Pakistan have been very, very successful. What are you hearing from top government sources?
The big picture that we're hearing is that the government is very, very clear that April 22nd was the original escalation by Pakistan. India responded to that escalation through Operation Sindoor, and our attack was on the on the terror infrastructure in Pakistan, the terror headquarters in Pakistan of Jaish, of the LET, of the Hizbul, and this was because Pakistan did not act against them, and over 100 terrorists were killed in the Indian strike. For India, the offensive had ended there. India did not want to take it further beyond there. India very clearly said we did not target any civilian population, neither any Pakistani military infrastructure in Operation Sindoor. The escalation the Indian government feels is now coming from Pakistan, first through these drone attacks for the last 2 nights, which now seem to be, Zaka, more of recce missions. These drone attacks seem to be more to assess our strength of our air defense systems, our alertness, where are our air defense systems located, maybe also to try and exhaust maybe some of our air defense systems before the actual attack comes. Indian government is also now seemingly very clear that Pakistan decided to wait for the IMF bailout before launching its big strike, because it did not want its IMF bailout to be jeopardized in any manner. And this shows that soon after the IMF bailout, Pakistan cleared its airspace today morning and has launched an attack through ballistic missiles, not only at our forward Air Force bases in Pathankot and the Udhampur, it has also tried to attack our major cities. So this is a major escalation by Pakistan. That is what India is saying. India never targeted earlier Pakistan's military infrastructure, but because Pakistan has now upped in a way the game, India is not shying back, and this attack on the airbase in Rawalpindi by India is to show how deep India can hit. And I think India is still trying to tell Pakistan to get the message to de-escalate, but if Pakistan does not de-escalate from here, Zaka, Indian government sources are telling me that we will also not stop now, and Pakistan will be taught a lesson.
All right, so our reporters are spread across the length and breadth. Ishan is joining us from Srinagar, Akash is joining us from Jammu. In Delhi, we have Arunima and Siddhant joining us from South Block. There's going to be a briefing by the Foreign Secretary at 10 a.m. Last 3 days, the briefing has been done by the Foreign Secretary along with the 2 young women officers of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Siddhant is also joining us from South Block. What are you hearing, Siddhant, in terms of what the MEA has to say. The briefings have been going on by the Foreign Secretary. Any word you're picking up on, our international players trying to intervene? I believe there was a statement put out by the G7. The Saudi Deputy Foreign Minister, who was here in Delhi a couple of days ago, he was in Islamabad yesterday. And this visible upping the ante by Pakistan has happened after the announcement of the IMF, the bailout announcement of $1 billion. What are you hearing from MEA?
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, just a short while back, Zaka, we have been told that press briefing by Foreign Secretary, which was expected to take place at 10 a.m., has again got delayed. In fact, they have told us that they're going to inform us again when and where this press briefing will take place today. Perhaps, as Arunima was also pointing out, that the ops are still going on. The focus is on sky at this point in time, Zaka. And in fact, yesterday, India also decided to close Kartarpur corridor, Zaka. Perhaps that was an announcement which Foreign Secretary made, because India knew that this is coming. This is coming. The time Pakistan will secure the bailout package from IMF, they are gonna hit us. Day before yesterday, Zaka, what happened post midnight? Perhaps they sent more than 300 UAVs. Perhaps we have also been told that those UAVs were not even loaded, were not even armed. Those UAVs were only sent to locate our air defense systems. Perhaps we knew about it, and we did not use our best of the systems in place. In fact, we shot them down using aircraft gun. This is what I'm being told. In fact, since then, India was preparing that what they did day before yesterday was a recce visit. Perhaps they are going to hit India, and they could target forward bases, Pathankot, Jammu, etc., those locations. So India was fully prepared for it. As you rightly pointed out, at a diplomatic level, perhaps India is not escalating. Foreign Secretary again reiterated yesterday that the first and the only escalation was the 22nd April attack in Pahalgam. India is only responding to the escalation by Pakistan. In fact, yesterday in the press briefing also, Foreign Secretary highlighted, Zaka, that how religious sites have been targeted in Poonch. There's a convent school which has been targeted.
Yes, I'm going to come back to you. We're getting more information, courtesy Manoj Gupta, our investigations editor, that a bunch of missiles have been fired. I can't reveal the exact number, but a bunch of missiles have been fired from the Srinagar airbase. That too, Pakistan has tried to attack, but there is very minimal damage that has happened there. So from the Srinagar airbase, missiles have been sent, and a Pak Air Force jet, at least one we can confirm, possibly more than one, but definitely one Pakistan Air Force jet has been shot down by missiles that have been sent from the Srinagar airbase. So that is a big development. One Pakistan Air Force jet being downed by India. Remember, Pakistan has a combination of the F-16s, which are the American fighter jets, the fourth generation fighter jet, and also a combination of the JF-17 and the J-10. The JF-17 is the 4.5 generation Chinese fighter jet, and the J-10 the 4th generation fighter jet. So it's a combination of Chinese as well as American military jets, fighter jets that the Pakistan Air Force has. We don't know which of this has been brought down, but at least two Pakistani Air Force jets have been downed by India in missile strikes that have been launched from the Srinagar Air Force Station. Arunima, what more details are you hearing? There was supposed to be an army briefing earlier this morning. I believe there wasn't much information that came from there, but at 10 o'clock the Foreign Secretary is expected to brief the press. But this big development that we are breaking right now on our screen, at least two Pakistani Air Force fighter jets have been brought down by missiles that have been fired from the Srinagar Air Force Station.
I think this was the air operation which led to the delay and subsequent postponement of the briefing. We got a message early in the morning around 5 a.m., quarter to 5, that by 5:30 there will be a briefing in the lawn, which you can see in my frame in South Block. But when we reached here, we were told that the air operations were still on, and there were intense operations that were going on, and therefore it's not feasible to brief and put out the correct picture at this stage, because it was a developing situation, it was an ongoing situation. We were also told that while the entire focus is on the sky, it's the air operations operations which are giving a bloody nose to Pakistan. On ground, there is intermittent firing that is going on along the line of control, and now I'm hearing that in Rajouri there is intense artillery fire. Some civilian houses in Dhangri have also taken the hit. So Pakistan is trying to cater to its own domestic constituency by targeting civilians. First they have targeted civilians in Poonch, now similar exercise going on in Uri and in Rajouri as well. So while their air assets are being taken down after their misadventure, they're trying to respond on the ground by artillery firing, which is also being responded to very strongly by the Indian Defence Forces.
All right, so there's going to be a briefing. We know that 2 Pakistani fighter jets have been shot down by India. What these jets are, I think we should hold back on that, at least the make of these jets, what these jets are. But definitely 2 fighter jets of the Pakistan Air Force have been brought down by missiles that have been fired by India. All right, we're going ahead and saying that these are Pakistani F-16s. I want to be very, very responsible, very measured and restrained in our reporting that India has shot down 2 Pakistan Air Force jets. Despite all of this fog of war and all of this confusion that happened a couple of nights ago, we can now report to you early Saturday morning there has been a dramatic escalation, clearly an attempt by Pakistan to climb up the escalation ladder. They have gone up a couple of notches, a couple of rungs in that escalation ladder. India has responded measure for measure. Pakistani Air Force jets, 2 F-16s, have been shot down by missiles that have been launched from the Srinagar Air Force Station. Akash, what are you hearing from your top defense sources? PAF aircraft down.
I have no independent confirmation on that. Manoj Gupta is bringing us this input where he has been reporting that how 2 F-16s have been in fact brought down by the Indian Air Force. So we'll wait for the official confirmation as well. But this is big, Zaka. This is big. We have seen that how F-16 was very much there, a part of the sort of activities that happened in 2019 when the dogfight actually happened between MiG-21 and F-16. And even at that time, we know the whole episode of Wing Commander Abhinandan. But this time around, we are learning that we have shot down these F-16s. I'll check for with the Air Force as well for the independent confirmation. But Manoj Gupta has been reporting that how 2 F-16s in fact have been downed by the Indian Air Force. In fact, we have got several sort of videos that are in fact somewhere confirming the debris and in fact some sort of smoke coming from a distant place. Ishan has been reporting this, but it is big, Zaka, given the fact that Pakistan Air Force consider itself as a superior force. They have always challenged Indian armed forces and in fact Indian Air Force specifically for the dogfight because they think that their machines are superior, their training is superior, and this is one development where it is a slap on their face where they have been trying the military establishment, military infrastructure in different places here in India. None of them is successful, but this time around we are learning that in Srinagar at least 2 F-16 aircraft have been downed by the Indian Air Force, Zaka.
So 2 Pakistan Air Force jets have been downed by the missiles that have been hit by the missiles from the Srinagar Air Force Station. So bringing you up to speed, the big picture that Pakistan has escalated over the last 6 or 7 hours post midnight after the announcement by the International Monetary Fund that they were releasing the tranche of $1 billion, part of the $7 billion package that Pakistan has managed to procure from the IMF, emergency bailout money. Right after that, and right after the Deputy Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia left last night, there's been a dramatic escalation by Pakistan. Multiple attempts at forward air bases, at Air Force stations from Jammu to Pathankot, which is one of the biggest Air Force stations in northern India. In fact, it is bang on the border with Pakistan. It was also the scene of the terrorist attack that happened in 2016. We're also learning that the Sirsa Air Force Station was also one of the targets of attack. But all of that, the Udhampur military station, all of that has been thwarted by India's air defense systems. And now in retaliation, India has hit and brought down 2 Pakistan Air Force jets. They've been brought down over Srinagar is what we're given to understand. These are deferred visuals we're getting from Udhampur, and the visuals that you're seeing on the left side is India attacking the Noor Khan Air Base, which used to be called the Chaklala Air Base earlier, hosts a big military college as well. It's very close to the general headquarters, the heart of the Pakistani military. There's been a massive attack there on the Noor Khan Air Base by India in retaliation to what Pakistan tried to do overnight. Let me go back to Aman, Arunima, reporters. Aman, again, as we await the Foreign Secretary's briefing in about 3 hours' time, what's the word that you're getting in from our top defense sources? India, of course, wanting to be absolutely certain that we are the responsive authority here. We're responding to the escalation by Pakistan. It is Pakistan that is choosing to climb the escalation ladder.
Zaka, and what government sources are also saying that we were prepared for this. We knew that a major attack by Pakistan will happen. We were very, very clear that the drone attacks which were happening, on Friday night, we also saw these big drone attacks. This was mainly, Friday morning, was mainly to assess our air defense preparedness. Pakistan was waiting for the IMF bailout. This information and this intel was there with the government that the Pakistan will only launch its big strike after the IMF bailout process is over, and that is what has happened absolutely in the way India anticipated. India's defense system was at an all-time high early this morning also, and we were anticipating this to happen. That is very, very clear. India is also saying that this upping of this escalation by firing these Fatah series missiles, not just on our forward air bases like Pathankot and Jammu and Udhampur, but also at our major cities, especially Delhi, is a major escalation by Pakistan. This shows that Pakistan's intentions are not good. We have to safeguard our territory, we have to safeguard our assets, and that is why we've hit at the heart of the Pakistani army in Rawalpindi, the Chokala air base. A very, very secure facility inside Pakistan which India has managed to hit. This shows that India is giving this warning to Pakistan that you need to stop here, because if you escalate further, India then will not stop, because India considered Operation Sindoor as it's a major operation, in retaliation to what happened on April 22nd in Pahalgam. But this is now showing that Pakistan, Zaka, is in no mood to stop, and India is responding in equal measure.
So there's also visuals we're showing on the top right of your screen, which is from Jammu. It's a Shambhu temple. There's debris of a projectile that you can see strewn all over the place. This is just on the outer perimeter of the temple. Let me also go to Arunima. Arunima, who's in South Block for us. Arunima, what are you hearing? What are you hearing from your top government sources? This Pakistani jets being downed, is a huge statement by India. Pakistan Air Force jets that have been shot down over Srinagar airspace. But the attempt by Pakistan to try and target some of our forward military stations, forward air bases, that has been thwarted. And in response, India has targeted, among others, the Noor Khan Air Base or the Chaklala Air Base, which is one of the biggest that Pakistan has. Also the Chakwal, the Murid Air Base, again in Punjab. And you also have one more, the Rafiki Air Base. 3 air bases of Pakistan have been targeted in missile strikes by India. What more do you have?
Yes, so Zaka, they had put out a statement late last night saying that 26 places were targeted, and they're just sticking to that for now as far as official word goes. Yes, they have told us that the intense air operations are going on, but on that specific input that Manoj Gupta has about India taking down a Pakistani jet, the South Block is not confirming that as yet, and understandably so perhaps, because even day before yesterday night there was intense speculation that similarly a Pakistani jet had been down and a Pakistani pilot had been taken into custody, but India has remained non-committal. They've not confirmed, not come on record on that. So in this case also, I think they will take their time, and once they are ready to share the details, only then will they come out with an official confirmation. Because of course, even though both sides officially are just calling this a conflict, the terminology of war is not being used officially. The fact is that if that is the situation, and if you have someone in your custody, then the Geneva Convention will apply. Prisoner of war rules will apply. That perhaps is the reason why they're calibrating their next step. But Manoj Gupta is learning that the air operations has resulted in one more bloody nose for Pakistan. Their top of the line asset, their top of the line aircraft has been down. We're not taking the names and the details as yet. But there is worrying news coming in from the line of control as well. Intermittent firing is targeting civilian population there in Rajouri, in Poonch, in Uri. It has been on and off. Intermittent is what we've seen over the last 3 hours. But while India is giving them a bloody nose in the sky, they are trying to retaliate by taking out their frustration on civilians.
All right, Arima, stay on with us. So if you're joining us at 7 o'clock, top of the hour this Saturday morning, it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan, both along the line of control as well as the international border. But the important one is the air attacks. There have been attempts by Pakistan to try and neutralize some of our forward air stations, forward military bases. Let's look at what Pakistan has attempted to do, and I'll get to what India has done, and successfully at that, in response to that. Udhampur is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. The attempt there has been to try and neutralize the Air Force station. It's a smaller Air Force station there. Pathankot is one of the biggest. In fact, it is our forward air base. It's spread over 2,000 acres, multiple, squadrons of our fighter jets are stationed there. It was the scene of the 2016 terror attack. Again, that has been foiled by India. In Jammu too, the Air Force station there, the Pakistanis tried to try and neutralize. Why is this happening at the level of the Air Force stations? That is the first line of defense. When countries go into conflict, when states go into conflict, the first attempt is to try and neutralize the ability of the enemy to scramble his jets. That's what Pakistan attempted to do. Sirsa too, again part of the Western Command, is one of our big Air Force bases, stationed to squadrons of the fighter jets. This is what Pakistan was attempting to do. In response, what has India done? India too has targeted Pakistan's forward air bases. Let's get out that second map. What India has done in response to what Pakistan tried to do. And you look at this map, what stands out are the air stations that India has attempted to take out. And you can see those pictures as well from the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi. This is one of the biggest air bases that Pakistan has. It played a role in the 1965 and 1971 wars as well. This was earlier called the Chaklala Air Base. It is right in the heart of Rawalpindi. The general headquarters, Rawalpindi, is not too far from the air base. In fact, there is a famous Pakistan military college that's housed inside the Chaklala Air Base. It's now been renamed as the Noor Khan Air Base. You saw those pictures recorded by an individual, a civilian there, looking up at the big cloud of fire and smoke going up at the Noor Khan Air Base. Then further south, the Chakwal Air Base, it's called the Murid Air Base, again was active in the 65 and the 71 wars. The Chakwal Air Base too has been hit successfully by India. And then you have a smaller one in Sialkot, it's called the Rafiki Air Base. Again, a lot of transport aircraft, the C-130s, the Il-76s, they've been housed in some of these air bases. The Sialkot Air Base in southern Punjab has been hit as well. And Sukur, which is a civilian defense technical airport, Sukur has also been hit in Sindh. So basically in the heart of Punjab as well as in Sindh, these are the two biggest provinces in Pakistan. They have been successfully hit by Indian Army and by Indian Air Force. So what happens when a conflict begins? The first attempt by both parties is to try and take out the other side's air bases, because the ability not to be able to scramble jets, that is a significant tactical advantage in any conflict. So the attempt by both sides has been to try and take out each other's air bases, particularly forward air bases, render the runway unusable. That is the attempt. Once the runway becomes unusable, then it's difficult to scramble your jets, and thereby you are taking off a tactical advantage that the enemy has. That's what India has done last night to some of these forward air bases in Pakistan. Noor Khan, of course, this will have huge ramifications that are running through general headquarters, the military headquarters of Pakistan. Pakistan's attempts, whether it's in Udhampur, in Pathankot, in Jammu, in Sirsa, have been thwarted, and India in response has carried out significant damage to some of the air assets that Pakistan is hosting. Akash is there with us from Jammu, Ishan is there with us from Srinagar, Arunima in South Block, Siddhant is also joining us from South Block. Akash, first things first, the Jammu Air Force Station, Pakistan did try to take down the Jammu Air Force Station and render the runway unusable, but that has been thwarted by India. What are you hearing from what attempts have been made by Pakistan overnight and what India's response to that has been?
Zaka, possibly they have been trying the batteries, the air defense batteries, because the locations, I will not specify, but the locations that they have been trying, are somewhere carrying the air defense batteries and the systems, and they want to, destroy the air defense system. Given the fact that yesterday it was done by India. Last night also they tried several Air Force stations, but they failed in that, and in fact after India retaliating back, they are trying it once again in the morning. We have been learning about Pathankot, that how they tried Pathankot Air Force Station. We have been learning about Udhampur and also in Jammu. In Jammu, I was hearing sounds till 30 minutes back, but now it seems that it has stopped. And in fact, civilian population was on target as well, because they want to, spread panic here in India, because their narrative on social media seems not working. Indian Air Force and in fact Indian Army, or the armed forces for that matter, are coming up with official statements. We have been seeing the briefings on a daily basis, and in fact Indian media is acting responsibly, and this is the reason why Pakistan is frustrated and they want to spread panic. They are targeting civilian population as well. We have seen Firozpur, we have seen today Jammu as well, that how there was some sort of destruction in the civilian area. As far as the air defense system is concerned, so we have been reporting that how they are targeting the airstrips, not just airstrips, so that jets cannot be scrambled, but also the Air Force air defense systems. S-400 we have been reporting about S-400. We have been reporting about Akash, Pechora and everything else related to it. There is an open source information that is available. Maximum of it is not true, but yes, we won't reveal the exact details and the specific details, but they have been trying air defense systems. We have been learning about ceasefire violations at the LC in different areas in Rajouri and Punch specifically, where fighting was on till 10 minutes back, and we have been learning about Kashmir as well. Manoj Gupta is talking about their fighter jets in fact down by Indian Air Force. We will be looking for some more confirmation on that as well, but yes, it is big development where they have been failing in every of their attempt, but Indian Air Force, Indian Armed Forces have not only hit them in their house, but also have been destroying their jets and also the drones that they have been sending.
Okay, Akash, stay on with us. Ishan is also joining us, but before I go to him, we can report to you that the Air Force station in Udhampur is safe. The Jammu Civil and Technical Airport, both are safe. Pakistan has been targeting civilians. We're given to understand, and we saw those pictures of the Shambhu temple in Jammu, where there has been wreckage of some missile that we can see. In Janipur, Rehari and in the Udhampur parts of Jammu have been targeted. The bordering areas of Rajouri have been targeted. Araspura has been targeted, and there have been ceasefire violations in Arnia, Uri and Akhnur, all of which are of course on the line of control. So there have been ceasefire violations on the line of control. There has been violations across the international border in Rajouri, in Araspura, in Udhampur, Janipur and Rehari. These are all in Jammu. So both on the IB as well as the LC, there have been heavy artillery shelling that Pakistan has tried to carry out. Also, that important word that we got overnight, Pakistan launched the Fatah-2 missile. It was headed in the direction of the national capital is what we are given to understand, but India's air defense systems thwarting that in the skies over Sirsa in Haryana, and that is a major escalation by Pakistan in response. India has hit back, and you can see the picture in the middle, which is the Noor Khan Air Base, one of the forward air bases of the Pakistan Air Force, one of the biggest in fact that they have, played an important role in both 65 and in 71. It used to be called the Chaklala Air Base before, houses the Pakistan Military College there as well. That has been now attacked in a significant way by the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Let's also go across, if we can, do we have Ishan? If we have Ishan, we can go to him. All right, Arunima, coming back to you again. So we have two sets of action that are happening. One, of course, the ceasefire violations and the heavy artillery shelling that are happening both at the LC and in the international border. And then you have this missile and drone activity that's happening courtesy the Indian Air Force, which is trying to take out some of Pakistan's forward air bases. Tell us what a night it's been between India and Pakistan in these last 6 or 7 hours.
Yes, so what we are hearing as far as ceasefire violation goes, that the firing in Jammu, in Rajouri, in that division has stopped over the last 15-20 minutes, about almost leading up to half an hour. We have not heard the intense shelling that was going on. This was intermittent firing in any case, and the South Bloc was confirming that this has been going on off and on. The last half an hour or so, it seems to have gone down. However, the bad news for Pakistan is that one of their top-line aircraft has been taken down. That's what Manoj Gupta is reporting, and looks like that for now, as the sun has come out nice and bright, for now Pakistan's misadventure has been halted. But come evening, will they make an attempt again? Over the last 3 days, consistently they have tried to breach our airspace and been thwarted by our air defense system. Even this morning, we got a confirmation from South Bloc, from the defense sources, that yes, the attempt was made at Udhampur, the attempt was made at Pathankot and at Jammu. In Jammu, they managed to strike civilian areas. A temple a missile landed near a temple, and some houses were damaged.
All right, Aruna, give me a moment. We're just showing pictures of wreckage from a drone. This is in Amritsar, in the outskirts of Amritsar, in the rural parts of Amritsar, I believe. You can see the wreckage of the drone there. Do we have audio on that clip? If we do, I think we should try and play up that audio. Clearly, you can see some of the wreckage, some of the damage from last night. All of that wreckage parts being sort of strewn around the place. These are from the rural fields of Amritsar. I believe some cops are taking this footage, civilians there in the vicinity as well. These are on the fields. The fields, of course, have been plowed for the sowing season. There you can see the remnants of the wreckage there of what looks like a drone. We don't know if this was an exploratory mission, a probing mission, or whether there was any kind of explosive that was attached with this drone. From this wreckage, it's difficult to identify what make it is or which country's drones these are. But India did call out yesterday in the press briefing Turkish drones that were made by Turkey and to send on that exploratory mission that happened on the first night, the night of 7th and 8th of 8th and 9th of May, where you can see some of the cops there standing on the fields. This is what happened overnight in Amritsar. You can see those pictures of the remnants, the wreckage of a Pakistani drone there in the fields just in rural Amritsar. Let me also get in a word from Siddhant if he's there. Siddhant, so Foreign Secretary is going to brief in about 3 hours' time. Likely he will have the two women officers as well, Colonel Qureshi of the Indian Army and Wing Commander Singh of the Indian Air Force. What is the assessment that India is having right now in these last 6 hours or so? Because there's been a visible escalation and climbing of the escalation ladder by Pakistan overnight.
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, we've been told that the press briefing of Foreign Secretary has got delayed. In fact, now this press briefing will take place later in the day when the armed forces will have full assessment of the situation. Zaka, talking about the developments which have taken place in last 24 to 48 hours, perhaps there were 300 to 400 drones which were sent to India. They were dropped into India from Leh to Sir Creek, and in fact these drones were largely unarmed. These drones were sent day before yesterday to locate our air defense systems, but we understood that why this is being done, and we had fired and brought all of them down, all of the drones down through our air through our air guns, and perhaps at that moment only India understood that Pakistan is planning something big. Then what they did, Zaka, they did series of press conferences, perhaps camouflaging their yesterday's to camouflage their yesterday's operation, because they also didn't want the entire IMF bailout to get jeopardized, and perhaps they did series of press conferences, raking up Samjhauta Express blast, raking up issues like 26/11, that how India did not send witnesses to Pakistan for the trial purposes, etc., etc. So those things were said in the press conference. But India knew that they are gonna they are planning something.
Okay,
big.
just give me one second, Siddhant. These are shots from Lahore. It seems like a posh area. You can see the wreckage of some destruction, some material that's been used. You can see a big sort of smoke and fire going up. We don't know if this is a missile or a drone. It doesn't look like a drone. It looks much more bigger in that sense. It looks more like a projectile of some form of missile that's been used. This is in Lahore. It looks like on the outskirts of a major road. Whether this is in a deeply populated part of the city or whether it's on the outskirts, we don't know again. But this is from Lahore, and you can see fire and smoke on the sidelines of a major road. Whether this is a highway or an arterial road, you can see civilians there trying to capture the images. It seems like fields that are just off the road. The fields seem to be on fire, and you can see the remnants of a projectile as well. It doesn't look like a drone. It looks much bigger in size. It looks like some kind of missile remnant that has fallen there in Lahore. So these are the images that we're getting in from Lahore of what India has done. It's one of the places that India had targeted in Lahore last night in response to what Pakistan has been doing, trying to take down some of the Air Force stations and the military stations as well. So bringing you back to what happened overnight, we also know that 5 missiles have been fired from the Srinagar Air Force Station. 2 PAF jets, Pakistan Air Force jets, have been brought down. The image that you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen is from a place called Lasjan. You can see the wreckage of what seems like a projectile. It seems like an explosive added ammunition, added a drone that's been taken down. Parts of some of the remnants of this wreckage you can see on the left side of your screen. I want to go across to Ishan. Ishan, what more details do you have?
Well, what we know that some part of it has fallen into the residential compound of house, and the mobilizing of troops has started around the location. There was definitely a dogfight that we are given to understand, and air-to-surface missiles were activated immediately after the activity was ejected. What we have given to understand is that the Srinagar airport and every particular base is running on an high alert to ensure that none of the Pakistani aircraft enters the Indian airspace. And if there is any possibility, they are shot down immediately. And also what we know so far that the forces are trying to ensure that if at all there's a possibility of further escalation in Srinagar or areas surrounding it, particularly the defense establishment, that aggression is dealt with severely and ensured that they are able to hit back at those targets from where these missiles are coming. We don't want to give out any operation details, but for now, what we have been given to understand is that the debris has been found, and there's a possibility either a jet or some projectile which was fired has landed in the residential area near Srinagar. It's close by to the highway connecting Srinagar to the rest of India. But a debris has definitely been found. More troops have been mobilized to that location, as we are also heading towards that location to give you an exact clarity on what it is and whether really an aircraft has been shot down near or on the outskirts of Srinagar.
All right, stay on with us. Lasjan, I believe, is a place on the outskirts of Srinagar. You can see wreckage. We are given to understand that this is wreckage from some kind of an aircraft. That's the word, the preliminary word that seems to be coming. You can see one of the motors that's strewn around. I believe parts of this wreckage have fallen into a residential compound of an individual who's living there in a place called Lasjan. What more can you tell us? Is there any word, Ishan, about what is this wreckage, what it likely brought down? I mean, is there any word? Some preliminary information seemingly suggesting that this is one of the Pakistan Air Force jets that was brought down, but it seems quite small. Some smaller parts seem to have fallen in this individual's residential compound.
Well, yes, but it can be anything. As of now, there are no confirmations about what it is, but there are reports that there was a dogfight which took place over Srinagar. There are further details that we don't want to speak about at the moment, but definitely sources indicating that there was a dogfight over Srinagar and possibility of aircrafts being shot down has not been eliminated. What will give further confirmation is that once they'll be able to find the wreckage, they'll be able to spot it, they'll be able to see it, and then only can we have confirmation that any fighter jets being brought down. But there's a possibility that the sort of action that we have been witness to, or what we have heard from the top officials, it seems like the India's surface-to-air missiles possibly had been able to hit any projectile of aircraft or incoming thing that came from Pakistan has been hit down. And what we have been given to understand is that the systems have been activated around Srinagar to ensure the safety of residents as well, because there is a densely populated area where this projectile has fallen, and now the assessment is being made what it really is, and further details are awaited. The senior officials from the Air Force and other forces are now trying to reach out to this location to ensure that they are able to take this projectile in their custody, and if there is a jet which is lying around, that possibility cannot be eliminated as well as the sources are telling us.
All right, we're also getting word from Akash, if he's there, as we look at the wreckage of this, likely from a downed fighter is what we are told, a Pakistani Air Force fighter jet. This is in the Lasjan area in the outskirts of Srinagar, as Ishan is trying to make his way there. Akash, I believe your sources are saying that there was a dogfight as well?
Yes, Zaka. In fact, I have been learning that there was a dogfight, possibly after which, we have downed these Pakistani jets. Now, we are not sure if, because of the dogfight, it came down, or because of the air defense systems, it came out. But yes, wreckage is there, and in fact, we have been seeing the parts. You rightly pointed out, it seems like some motor or some other part of the aircraft. We are still not sure as to which aircraft it was. Reports are suggesting that it can be one F-16, but we'll wait for the official confirmation for that. But yes, sources, in the armed forces are somewhere confirming that a dogfight indeed happened between the Pakistani and Indian jets, and it was an intense fight. Operations are still on. I won't reveal much of it, but yes, activities have been happening. They have been trying missiles since morning, but till now, we haven't seen any sort of major damage as far as military infrastructure is concerned. Yes, Air Force is very much involved in the operations. Air Defense is very much there in the operations. Whether or not a dogfight is still happening, or it has happened, in the past 1 hour, 2 hours, we are not sure about it. But yes, dogfight happened at one point in time, and possibly after which, we have brought down these two Pakistani jets, in the Kashmir and in fact in the nearby areas. We'll get more details, Zaka.
All right, Ishan is also headed out to this Lasjan area. How far is it out from downtown Srinagar? And do we know any further information about where this has landed, Ishan, and whose house this is? These are, so I want to be very clear, and we should be very clear with our viewers. This image is from Lahore. This is the likely remnants of a projectile or a missile that India has hit Lahore with. You can see some of the fields just off the main road up in fire. You can see some civilians trying to take pictures of what is happening. So this is Lahore. I want to be very, very clear. We should tab that with where the location is of these pictures. And the other image that we were showing, the daytime image, this is overnight. The daytime image that we were showing is from an area called Lasjan, which is on the outskirts of Srinagar, where you can see some of the wreckage of what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet. Can we go back to Ishan to try and find out, do we have any information on where this has fallen? I believe it's the house of some individual, who this person is, and what he has managed to find in his residential compound. How far out is this place from downtown Srinagar, for example? All right, we've lost Ishan. We'll try and go back to him. So, two separate images. The one on your left is the one from Lahore overnight, shot by some Pakistani civilians. You can see a bunch of them that are gathered just off a main road. It looks like a highway of some sort, but just off a main road. And you can see fire in the background. Some of the fields are up in fire. There's a lot of smoke, black smoke coming up, and you can see the remnants of a projectile, a wreckage of a projectile. We don't know if it's a missile, whether that's a drone. It's unlikely it's a drone because it looks much bigger than a drone. It looks more like some kind of a missile, a short-range one, if you will. And these are images on the left again of the Shambhu Mandir in Jammu. You can see that on the top right part of your screen. There is wreckage of a Pakistani projectile that's been found there on the outer perimeter of that temple. So they've been trying to hit civilians. Massive damages across the LC, where ceasefire violations have been happening for 3 nights now. I believe in Rajouri, for example, A senior government official has also unfortunately lost his life. That's been tweeted by the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Omar Abdullah, that a senior government official has lost his life there. I think Arunima has more details on that, so maybe we can go to her to try and get that sense. But pictures that we're showing from Lahore on the left, fields up on fire and the wreckage of what looks like a missile, and then you have on the top right of your screen images of the wreckage from a temple in Jammu, the Shambhu Mandir in Jammu. But Arunima, the details that you have of a government official unfortunately losing his life in the shelling that has happened in Jammu overnight.
Yes, so Rajkumar Thapa, he was an assistant, district collector level officer in Rajouri. A shell landed at his residence during, intense firing in Rajouri, the ceasefire violation that was happening, and a shell landed at his residence, and he was subsequently rushed to the hospital, but he is no more. And Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, in fact, has tweeted his condolence message. What Chief Minister has said, he's confirmed that this is a devastating news that is coming in from Rajouri. He says we have lost a dedicated officer of the Jammu and Kashmir.
All right, Arunima, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but these are shots that we're getting of India intercepting some of these Pakistani missiles. This is from last night. We don't know the location of where this has been intercepted, but you can see the wreckage, huge smoke going up in what seems like a field. But this is the image of India intercepting Pakistani drones. Can we have the location of where this has come from? Checking with our producers at the back end. But these are live pictures, not live, these are pictures that happened from last night. And then you can see the aftermath of the wreckage of the drones that have fallen in what looks like fields. We're given to understand that this is from Jammu. If we can get Akash to walk us through these pictures. Akash, this seems like some kind of CCTV footage that's been recorded overnight. You can see two separate visuals. One is the drones going up. You can see those flares in the sky. There you go. The flares up in the sky. And then the second image that you can see, the second visual that you can see is of the wreckage. There's massive fire going up in what looks like a field. Akash, what more can you share with us about specifically these pictures?
So, Zata, while we know that drones have been sent by the Pakistani forces towards India, we know that many of these drones are being operated from the forward post of Pakistan, the military post of Pakistan. This is one video where Indian Army has basically destroyed one such post where, which was in fact earlier a terrorist launch pad. Infiltration was happening in that particular area, and there were inputs in fact that, it is happening from that particular post. It is working as a launch pad. And now we were learning that, drones are being operated from that particular place. This post has been destroyed by Indian Army. It is near Jammu, and it has been destroyed by Indian Army. These are the visuals where we are seeing, in fact, the visuals, fire coming out, and in fact, after the hit, in fact, the smoke and every other aspect of that particular hit. These are the visuals. The Indian Army has basically destroyed this Pakistani post, which was, carrying out this sort of infiltration, and in fact, the attempts were happening for last so many days, in fact, and in fact, this particular post was facilitating the drone movement, and in fact, drones were launched from this particular post. There were inputs, and after that Indian Army basically has hit this particular post.
Stay on with us as we show these pictures, as well as multiple pictures that we're getting from Lahore, as well as from Jammu and Srinagar. In Srinagar, on the outskirts, in a place called Lasjan, we're given to understand that there are remnants of a Pakistan Air Force jet that have landed in the residential compound of one individual. We were showing you those pictures a moment ago, but these are images, CCTV images likely, of India intercepting these Pakistani drones. There you go. That's the first set of images. You can see the intercept happening in mid-sky. And then the next set of images are the remnants of the wreckage up on fire and smoke in what looks like fields. This is from the Jammu region, is what we've given to understand. Siddhant, in terms of diplomatic maneuvers, have you heard anything, any interventions, anything from the Americans, the Europeans? The Saudis, of course, were here both in Delhi as well as in Islamabad. But it seems like, the level of intervention seems to be far less, certainly from what President Trump and Vice President Vance have said, that it seems like India and Pakistan's problem, and it is up to India and Pakistan to sort it out.
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, we are also getting statement from G7 foreign ministers, Zaka, and in fact, they have unequivocally condemned Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, that statement could be seen more inclined towards India. And in fact, the G7 foreign ministers have also urged for a de-escalation. As you rightly said, that a junior foreign minister of Saudi Arabia day before yesterday came to India. In fact, he met Minister Jaishankar. His convoy was in fact spotted outside Prime Minister Modi's residence, though there were no photographs released by either side. Yesterday he was in Islamabad. Perhaps there was a meeting with Shehbaz Sharif and Army Chief Asim Munir, and in fact those photos were made public by the Pakistani side. In fact, now we also got release from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in fact confirming that the junior minister was the envoy of Saudi Arabia. Perhaps it was an effort which was given by Saudi Arabia to de-escalate tensions between India and Pakistan. Now, Zaka, as you rightly said, as far as United States is concerned, perhaps they have condemned the attacks. In fact, they extended full support to India at all levels in United States. All offices have perhaps condemned the attack. But yes, the last interview of J.D. Vance, perhaps the remarks that he made, that it gave a sense that America is not much interested in de-escalating tensions between India and Pakistan, or rather America does not want to be the part of another war going on, or perhaps a part of a peace process of another conflict, rather, Zaka, which has started. So that could be America's strategy, Zaka. But having said that, it is very important to highlight, Zaka, that this action by Pakistan is coming after the IMF bailout was announced. Perhaps the world should take note of it, and this is exactly what India said yesterday at the board meetings, that how Pakistan misuses the funds for the terror activities. And in fact, there is also a chapter on Pakistan misusing funds for terror activities in IMF itself. India cited that chapter only to get the funds.
All right, Siddhanta, just give me a moment. These are visuals. I want to once again go back to these pictures. This is India intercepting drones, a Pakistani post from where these drones were sent. We're given to understand that this is in the Jammu region, so you can see two separate sets of pictures. One, the interception that's happening, likely by the indigenous air defense systems, the Akash missiles. And then the second set, this is the second set of visuals that you're seeing, which is the wreckage, the fire and the smoke after the interception, the wreckage falling onto what looks like fields there in the Jammu region. So you can see both these sets of images. These are CCTV images from last night. It's been captured on closed-circuit television. You can see those flares going up in the sky, the interception happening up in the sky, and then the wreckage falling out in the fields. So if we can go back to Akash. Akash, just walk us through these pictures, as my colleague Anand is also gearing up to show us some of these images. We have separate images from Lahore, from this is the image from Jammu region that we're seeing, the flares up in the sky and the interception happening. Arunima, I don't know if you can see these pictures, but what are you also hearing from top defense sources about what seems like not just a drone set of attacks now? You're seeing missiles and also reportedly word about 2 Pakistani Air Force jets being brought down in the skies over Srinagar.
Yes, in fact, just on the outskirts of Srinagar, there is an area called Pantha Chowk. When you move from Srinagar towards Jammu on that highway, the first place that you come to outside of Srinagar is Pantha Chowk, and that is where an intense search operation is currently on with multiple cordons being laid out by the military, by the paramilitary and by the local police to look for those Pakistan Air Force pilots. It is being suspected that they could have ejected around Pantha Chowk, and there's an intense search that is on there. Help from the locals have also been enlisted. Manoj Gupta in fact confirmed to us a while back that a Pakistani jet has been taken down near Srinagar, and post that we got this confirmation that there is this intense search operation that is on. So if it is confirmed indeed that these 2 pilots are near Pantha Chowk, then that will just change the dynamics of the conflict perhaps that we are seeing. You must have noticed, Zaka, all through social media, every time you speak about the India-Pakistan conflict, Abhinandan's name comes out, our fighter pilot who was was after Balakot, taken into custody by Pakistan. They crack jokes about that incident, but it seems now the tables are turning on Pakistan. On the other side, I was also telling you how intermittent firing has been going on along the line of control. So the bad news from there is that one assistant district divisional commissioner level officer, Mr. Thapa, is now deceased. He's no more. A shell landed at his residence. So Pakistan is continuing to target civilian areas in Rajouri, Poonch, Jammu. A temple was targeted. Temples damaged. There were some houses near that temple that was damaged as well. So for now, it's all clear. It's a bright sunny day right now, and the input that we're getting is that things have calmed down, but the ramifications, what has happened overnight is still on, and we're expecting that briefing also in a short while from now, where India will officially confirm what has happened last night.
All right, so we have pictures from Lahore, pictures from Jammu. These are all images that we are broadcasting here on CNN News 18. So just to bring you up to speed, there has been an escalation in the drone and missile strikes from Pakistan's side overnight over the last 6 hours, specifically after the IMF announcement happened. And then India, in retaliation, has targeted at least 3 major air bases, including the Noor Khan air base, the old Chaklala air base of Pakistan. That you can see the smoke and fire going up there. This is in Lahore, likely again a missile, Indian missile that landed up there. You can see the fields up in flames. And then, of course, the interception of the Pakistani drone launch pad somewhere on the other side of the Jammu region. You can see the intercept happening mid-air, and then that's the Noor Khan air base, one of the biggest, the Chaklala air base. It's bang in the middle of the military complex in Rawalpindi. The general headquarters is not too far away from there. It has a Pakistan military training college as well, and then in Rawalpindi, in the heart of the city itself. So Anand is also joining us here in our studio. So Anand, it's been a very hot night between India and Pakistan.
Hope the international community is watching. There's a reason why Bharat was very clearly, vociferously against the IMF bailout. Soon after the bailout happens, look at this. Let's look at these visuals. This is where the tube drones were being fired. This was the tube from where drones were being fired across towards India, and that's what it's now been demolished altogether. So you have the flares, and thereafter, then you see the flames. This is where this has been destroyed. This is where those Turkish drones and a lot of the Chinese drones were being pushed into India. The more important part is that these drones were actually probing. They were coming there to try to see where the air defense systems are placed, and thereafter the Pakistan was trying to send across ballistic missiles. Fatah ballistic missiles have been fired towards Bharat. That's the level of escalation that has happened soon after midnight at about 12:05 a.m. That's when the first news came in that there were ballistic missiles that were fired in the direction of Bharat, and that have been intercepted over Sirsa. So that's the level of escalation that the Pakistanis have now resorted to. General Asim Munir will now have to account for this, because Bharat is going to respond in very, very strong measures. So let's try and see those pictures. These are visuals of the entire drone tube that's now been demolished. So one important aspect. Let's try and look at some of the other pictures that are coming through. So this is the dump, and let's move to the next set of pictures. Now these are pictures which are coming in where there has been damage. This is over in Pakistan, and there is extensive amount of damage that is visible. Yeah, and clearly there are ammunition, missiles, loitering munitions that have landed in this city. Now these are Jammu. These are pictures of Jammu. I was just looking at the card numbers, the registration numbers. So this is what Pakistan's done. It's targeting Jammu city. There are military installations, but some of these have also landed near temples. They have also landed near some of the temples, very famous temples in Jammu, where some of the munitions, some of the missiles, projectiles that have been fired by Pakistan have landed. There is damage in civilian areas. These are the 2 jets. There is a serious dogfight that's been registered. There are dogfights that have been registered, and Asim Munir is actually called Chachu Whiskey there in Pakistan. So his team has suffered losses. 2 of his jets are down. What is the make of these jets? We don't know, but 2 of the jets are down in a dogfight. Indian Air Force has really knocked down 2 jets. It's a big setback and big embarrassment, further embarrassment heaped on Asim Munir and the Pak military. These are the remnants. They have landed very close to Srinagar city, and that's why there is a possibility that the 2 pilots have ejected and they have landed on Indian soil. Now it's a matter of time that they are apprehended, and we'll get you more. Now this is more of the drones. These are parts of drone, remnants of the drone in Amritsar. Clearly the make of the drones this time, and this entire wreckage that we are seeing in Amritsar, this time around the drones are bigger. They seem to have been equipped with explosives and munition, and with the attempt to target positions in Amritsar. Now, one of the treacherous things that Pakistan was trying to do was to try and attack the Golden Temple in Amritsar and blame it on India, and activating their entire Khalistani cronies to try and push this whole thing on social media, but it's been called out by India. And look at this. This is in Amritsar. These are Pak drones, Pak sent drones. So clearly, huge amount of escalation. But Bharat is also responding, and the response is in far greater measure. There have been severe reversals for the Pakistanis. Critical airbases have been hit, and this is in Lahore. The Lahore people are now seeing parts of the Indian Jawabi Karwai, if I may say, and this is the damage. Now it looks like a field, but it's clearly that it's just one of the projectiles that's landed there. But in Lahore, along with the ADS system near the Walton Airport, there are some critical facilities that have now been impacted because of Indian Air Force or the Indian Forces response. Let's look at Rawalpindi. The Rawalpindi airbase, again, this is confirmation that 3 of the Pak airbases were not able to operate their machines from these airbases after the response. This is post midnight. Once Pakistan went up a ladder on the escalation, this is the response that India has given, and saying, you try to target our bases, you try to target our capital, or you try to target our cities, we will hit you so hard that you will not be able to fly your machines. So these air bases have actually been rendered ineffective overnight. Rawalpindi is one. There is also the Noor Khan Air Base, where there is a huge amount of damage. Now look at the damage that is seen at the Noor Khan Air Base, and there is this proof. And the fact is that there is evidence we are given to understand with our armed forces and with our intelligence that these air bases were rendered ineffective all night. They could not operate their machines from these air bases. So Rawalpindi, the Noor Khan Air Base, and of course this is the old Narowal Air Base. So Narowal Air Base also rendered ineffective because they were not able to operate their machines, and these are confirmed hits at 3 big air bases of Pakistan. So if Pakistan goes up the escalation ladder, if Chachu Whiskey decides to go up the escalation ladder, Bharat was ready. And the important part, Zaka, as I hand it back to you, is that Bharat was expecting this. Late last evening, we put it out that we know that these were probing. The drones that were sent, largely ineffective, without any ammunition on them, were probes, because they wanted to see how effective our air defense systems are and where our air defense mechanisms have been placed. And soon after the IMF bailout gets a thumbs up, look what Pakistan has done. The world should watch and see that Bharat said we don't want, and we actually offered them 1, 2, 3 off ramps. But Asim Munir has said no, and the Pak military has said no, we come there, and they've called it Bunyane Mahsoos, and then launching ballistic missiles towards, and one of them intended reportedly towards the national capital, Zaga. This is serious escalation, and perhaps now India was expecting it. They were prepared to see to what level Pakistan takes it. Clearly, they don't want an off ramp, and they don't want to get an escalating ladder, because they seem to be desperate to get some win or the other, and that's not happening. That's being denied.
So what we are seeing, in case you're joining us a little past 7:30 in the morning, in case you're joining us this Saturday morning, it's been a night full of action. It's been, as they say, a hot night between India and Pakistan. Pakistan has decided to climb the escalation ladder. The drone swarms that we saw over the last couple of nights, that's now been notched up a rung in the escalation ladder, and that is now they are hitting India, or trying to hit India, through missiles, short-range missiles, both air-to-surface and surface-to-surface missiles, one of which was a ballistic missile, a Fatah 2 series, a 400-kilometer range missile that they tried to launch towards the direction of the national capital. It got intercepted in the skies over Haryana. We're not giving specific locations because we don't want to spread panic, but in the general airspace above Haryana, that was intercepted. India has responded. It has taken out at least 3 major forward air bases of Pakistan. The Noor Khan Air Base, which is the biggest in the country, the Chakwal Air Base, the Murid Air Base as it's known. Both of these air bases have both fighter jet squadrons as well as transport aircraft. So transport aircraft are also important in terms of being able to move logistics. Also the Rafiki Air Base, which is further south in southern Punjab, and there's a civil plus technical airport in a place called Sukur in Sindh. So that is India's response to what Pakistan tried to do. Separately, we're also getting information about massive ceasefire violations both along the line of control and the international border. There has been some damage to civilian installations as well. Pakistan tried to attack some of India's forward air bases. Pathankot certainly saw a bunch of attacks last night, but there has been very minimal to zero damage there. The Jammu Air Force Station they tried to attack yesterday, again zero damage there. Both the technical and the civil airports are fine, are safe. Also in Udhampur, which is the headquarters of the Northern Command of the Indian Army, there too there is, I can report to you, minimal damage. So we're being very, very responsible, very, very measured in our reporting. So the big picture being that it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Certainly both sides now climbing up a rung in the escalation ladder. Arunima is there with us, Siddhant is there with us. We'll try and go across to Akash as well, who's joining us from Jammu, Ishan in Srinagar, where I believe a dogfight has happened and 2 Pakistan Air Force jets have been brought down. Let me go across to Arunima. Arunima, big picture, what are you hearing? You're outside South Block for us. Any defense sources, government sources saying what the situation is, what the assessment is as they see it?
See, the situation right now, we are told at about 7:30 hours this morning on Saturday is under control. Whatever misadventure Pakistan indulged in last night, post midnight, it has been met. And they have lost more than they attempted to harm India with. So what we are told is that there are at least 2 Pakistani fighter jets which have been down. Officially, they're not saying whether they know exactly where the debris are, but they are confirming that they feel that at least 2 Pakistani fighter jets are down, and an intense search operation is currently on around Srinagar to look for the Pakistani Air Force pilots who likely ejected. So that's one. Second, we do know that their ceasefire violation along the line of control in Rajouri, Punj, all of that has resulted in deaths. They were targeting civilians. One district level official has also lost his life because his house was shelled. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has also tweeted his condolence. But for now, the firing that was on at Rajouri Punj sector over the last 1 hour or so, even that has gone down. Jammu also was targeted. Attempts were made at the Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur airbase. And even though Pakistan's propaganda machinery through their own local media channels were trying to say that the Udhampur airbase has been damaged, our sources in the defense establishment have confirmed that there's no damage to any air asset or to the premises or any personnel in any of these air bases. Pathankot, Jammu, Udhampur, it's all clear there. And right now the focus, like I said, A is to look for the Pakistani Air Force pilots, B is to assess the kind of damage that has been inflicted on Pakistan. Once this assessment has been done, we're expecting a formal press conference led by the Foreign Secretary.
All right, I also want to go across to Ishan, but what we're seeing in the middle part of your screen is wreckage believed to be from 2 Pakistan Air Force jets that have been downed. It's landed in a place called Lasjan, which I believe is in the outskirts of Srinagar. Ishan is on his way to Lasjan. What more do we know about these parts, this wreckage? Where was it found? The individual who has shot this, what more can you tell us?
The assessment is being done. What we know is that the team has arrived there. They have taken the wreckage and these parts with them. Initially, what the sources in the Air Force and the defense told us that they were able to shoot down at least 2 aircrafts of Pakistan in and around Kashmir, and particularly one in Srinagar. But the assessment is being done what it really was, whether it was a missile, whether it was a drone, or whether it was a jet that has been basically shot at by the Indian Air Defense. But right now what we have been given to understand is that the Indian defense is running on maximum in Kashmir to ensure the safety. They have shot down things. What we don't have a clarity yet on that what kind of projectile it is, what it was, and where actually it other places where it has landed. But what we know is that there is a high level of operational preparedness. The forces are checking everything that that is coming in their radar to ensure that they are brought down immediately. There is an attempt to actually inflict damage at two important locations. One is the Avantipura air station, and one is Avantipura air base, and one is the Srinagar air station. Both of the targets are being done by the Pakistan drones and Pakistani aircrafts, and rockets are being shot at there. And also what we know is that this landed in a residential house of one person, but there is no damage, immediate damage that we know about that has been caused. Our sources have been telling us that people have been asked to stay a little vigilant but not panic at all. There's no need to panic, as air defense of India is running high in Kashmir at the moment, and the line of control is also hot. Remember, the LOC areas are also right now hot. What we have been given to understand is that the firing is still going on the line of control. There is a possibility, if it is a pilot-based aircraft that was hovering around Srinagar, that the pilots can also be possibly anywhere. But yes, one has to wait for the IAF team to actually give us a confirmation to really what it was and what it really is. But they believed initially that they have brought down a fighter jet around Srinagar and in the Lajjan area.
All right, Anand is also there with us. We don't know the wreckage. This is from the Lajjan area in Srinagar. It's likely from a Pakistani Air Force jet that's been brought down, but we'll wait for that confirmation. These are images of the tube drones that were being launched from the other side of the border in Pakistan. That has now been brought down by the intercepts of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Anand, walk us through those pictures, please.
Well, let's have a look at this. This is a Pak military post where there is, if you see, they were launching the tube drones, and that they had the drone tubes, and this was a Pak post, and that's where this is that we are seeing on the in picture. This is right across the Jammu region, across the international border. That's where they had these this post from where drones were being launched. That's been totally decimated. So this is a big uptick, because every time Pakistan, what they were trying to resort to do was sending these drones, and these drones were nothing but cannon fodder. They wanted to do that because they wanted to see how much of a backup. Now these are pictures. These are pictures. These are the latest. These are the latest objects that have been found in Jaisalmer. This is a huge projectile. Now, have a look at this. This is nothing short of a ballistic missile, but it's a huge projectile if you look at it, and it's mangled. We don't know if there is live ammunition in it, but this has been brought down. It's landed in a residential area in Jaisalmer, and quite a long one, at about 10 to 15 feet in length at least, this projectile, if not more, and it seems that the head has come off and it's just landed. This seems to be the head of the projectile, and quite a big one. It's landed there. Whether it has live ammunition or not, we do not know. There have been some sounds of explosions in some other places, but this one has landed here, and you can see the way it's landed. There are a few craters just around the fact. It seems to have landed with a thud and then rolled over across to this bush, if you see these pictures. So this is in Jaisalmer. The cops, the local police have been alerted, and they've asked the local residents there to not go close or to touch this, but to leave it as it is. But we can see the villagers and all of them who have seen this. They've taken the images, and clearly the local authorities have been alerted with this. So this is the latest. So clearly a lot of efforts that have been made by the Pakistanis to ratchet up and to try and damage certain installations across the entire western border has come a begging for them. It's not yielded results. Have we lost people? Yes, we have. There's report of a civilian death, 2 civilian deaths that have happened in Jammu Kashmir region. These are latest pictures. These are also latest pictures from Jaisalmer. This is also another spot that's come in. Is this live ammunition? This is also looks like part of a projectile. This also looks like part of a missile. Now this somewhere confirms the fact that the reports that we had, that Pakistan has actually launched ballistic missiles soon after the IMF thumbs up for the $1.3 billion bailout that's come for them. But look at this, and that's why Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah is asking the international community. He's just taken to X for that. But look at this, ballistic missiles have been launched, so this is clear escalation. Yes, Zaka.
All right, Ishan is joining us live from Lajjan, where we believe wreckage of two Pakistani Air Force aircraft have gone down. Ishan, show us where you are and what you're seeing around you.
Well, this is the residential area. This is the impact spot. You will see that one of that whatever projectile it was landed here. Look at the impact spot. This is possibly a part of it which is in my hand right now, and that has been taken away by the police as soon as before we reached here. This is the impact spot where it landed. You'll see around here the sort of the sort of scene that is this here. This is where it had landed, and this is it has uprooted the entire thing here. And you will also notice here that one more projectile actually fell at this place, and then it was taken away by the police. And what we have been told is that there's an active investigation going on, what it really was, what it really is. Now the Indian Air Force will ascertain that what really it was brought down here. But initial information with the Air Force was that they have been able to bring down at least one jet around Srinagar and then on the outskirts as well.
What is
but
this
look
place?
At the spot
Is
where
it
the
a
impact spot
house?
is.
Is
This
it
is where
the backyard of a house? What is this place?
Well, this is the backyard of a house. I'll give you an idea how close-knitted this locality is. You will see there are houses all around this place, everywhere. And luckily that it did not fall any of these houses. It fell in their back garden where nobody was present at that time. And you will see that there's a very less space present between these houses. And if it all had fallen on any of these houses, it would have created a lot of damage to them. But this is the impact spot. You will exactly see the sort of locality that exists, that there's nobody present at that time here. We spoken to the residents here. They said that there was a loud sound that they heard, and after that they came out and seeing that there was some projectile, two of them present here, and then it was whisked away by the police. But the impact has been like a good big impact around this place, and lucky enough for these people that did not fall in any of these houses, any of these residential houses which are closely knitted and closely located with each other. But we have given to understand is that now the Air Force and and the teams of Indian Army will look at this particular object and see what it really was and the sort of damage it could have inflicted on the residential area. But definitely we had seen that there is a high air activity. We've been given to understand that there was a possibly a dogfight that took place in the skies of Srinagar. But right now it's difficult to tell what really fell here because it's part of the investigation by the agencies.
All right, Anand, I believe you have pictures of what has gone down in Jaisalmer.
Yes.
It looks like parts of a missile. Just take us through what you're
now
saying.
this is close to the Pokhran region, we are given to understand, and the locals are saying when this landed there, they heard a loud explosion. So they're not sure whether this is a bomb, but the shape of it and the way it is, it looks like a missile. Now whether is it what make it is, what type it is, whether it is a portion of a ballistic missile, we have to wait and watch. But clearly this is a far bigger projectile than what we saw landing in Jaisalmer yesterday and day before. So that were about 5-6 feet. Those were the kind of projectiles that we had seen. This is more than 10 to 12 feet long, and if you see the whole length and breadth of this and this entire image, it very clearly shows. Look at the locals, and you can compare and contrast the size of this projectile based on the locals who are standing there, and that itself gives you that this is at least 10 to 12 feet long, if not more. And this is not even the whole projectile, this is not even the whole missile, and this is another portion that's found. Now this could be a live mortar shell or munition, so the locals have been advised that you take pictures and you stay away, don't touch it, keep minimum distance. Some of this may be live, some of this may be diffused, we do not know, but these have landed. So clearly the escalation ladder, Pakistan has really gone up the escalation ladder. With what intent? Can they sustain it? Is it desperation? But what also stands out is our air defense systems. Yes, there will be some reversals, there will be some aspects, but a 10% blow on the chin or somewhere is nothing compared to the 100% might that was pushed by the Pakistani. So largely, if you were to say 98% of the efforts pushed by the Pakistani military has been neutralized or has been diffused. But it is also sad that we have lost at least 2 civilians in Jammu Kashmir, leader, one lady, and also one person who was part of the administrative services in Jammu and Kashmir in Srinagar, who's also sadly lost his life. But the other part, Zaka, as I hand it back to you, is that Pakistanis have not just targeted military installations, they seem to be targeting certain religious installations also, because one of the missiles sent by the Pakistanis or projectiles has landed near a temple in Jammu. The other thing is they were flying around over Amritsar. With what intent? We have to see. Thankfully, Majority of these have been neutralized. We are also awaiting details, and I'm very curious to see if there are locals who have cited someone trying to come down on a parachute, because if there is a dogfight and 2 Pakistani jets have been downed, there is a high possibility that there could be 2 Pakistani pilots or enemy pilots on Indian soil. Now, whether they are apprehended, whether they've been cited, we're waiting for those confirmations, but there is a confirmed report that there was a dogfight over the Srinagar skies this morning.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for that, Anand. As we go across to Tejinder in Jammu, but those images from Jaisalmer, that looks like a significant piece of military hardware. That looks like a missile, possibly a short range or a medium range missile, the remnants of which landed up in Jaisalmer. We'll try and find out from our reporter there. We've got Anvit, I think, there in Jaisalmer. This is what the locals have spotted, and they have filmed it and they've sent it across. There's been some civilian casualties as well in Jammu, in Rajouri, Poonch. Tejinder has more on this. Tejinder, I believe a DC level officer has also lost his life. I think his house was attacked yesterday. There's been 3 civilian casualties in Jammu is what we are told. Just tell us what else are you hearing and seeing this morning in Jammu?
Zaka, unfortunately, there has been 5 civilian casualties across Jammu since the Pakistani army launched this ceasefire violation targeting the civilian population. 3 people, including an additional DC Rajkumar Thapa, have been killed in Rajouri. There has been a fatality. A woman has been killed in Mender area of Poonch, and another civilian has been killed in the Araspura area of Jammu, as Pakistan army continues to target the civilian population. As Anand was rightly pointing out, that a missile launched from the Pakistan side exploded outside one of the famous temples in Jammu called the Aab Shambhu temple, but luckily there was no casualty in that blast. Another 2 missiles that were fired from the Pakistan side, one landed at a residential house in Janipur and the other one in Rihadi. So clearly now the Jammu city, which never came under attack after the 1971 war, has been targeted by the Pakistan side. They are using drones, they are using missiles, heavy artillery guns to target the civilian population. And Zaka, as we speak, the line of control in Jammu as well as in Kashmir is really hot. Pakistan army is once again targeting the civilian population living along the line of control in Uri, in Tangdhar, Keran, Machil sector in Kashmir, and in Jammu region, Poonch, Rajouri, Kathua. These are the areas which are being targeted by the Pakistan side. But yes, the Indian army is giving a befitting response to Pakistan. We are told that several positions of the Pakistan army, from where they are launching their tube projectiles, from where they are targeting the civilian population, have been completely decimated by the targeted fire of the Indian armed forces.
So the 3 sets of images that you're seeing, one from Amritsar in the fields there, that's the wreckage of a drone clearly. Remember yesterday India called out Turkey and said there were Turkish-made drones that were being sent from Pakistan to India. The middle part of your screen is debris from a Pakistan Air Force jet. We don't know the make, could be an F-16, but we don't know the make. It's in a place called Lasjan. You heard from Ishan a moment ago. He's landed in that residential colony in Lasjan. Thankfully, it fell on the backyard of an individual. And then on the right side of your screen, it seems like a massive projectile of some sort. This is from Jaisalmer. We'll try and get to Anvit as well to try and get a sense of what this is and how the villagers managed to find this. Arunima is joining us. So the big picture at 8 o'clock this morning, this Saturday morning, it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Multiple drone and missile strikes both ways. Pakistan upping the ante, escalating going up the escalation ladder after the IMF bailout announcement, trying to attack India's forward air bases and military stations from Jammu to Udhampur to Pathankot to Sirsa, Udhampur were all under target, but all of those attempts have been thwarted. India in response taking out some of the forward air bases of Pakistan, the Noor Khan base being the topmost one. It's one of the biggest air bases, one of the oldest air bases of Pakistan. It used to be called the Chaklala Air Base, right in the heart of Rawalpindi. There's one in Chakwal, the Murid Air Base, a smaller one which has transport aircraft, and then one further south in Surkot, the Rafiki Air Base. Arunima from South Block, what is the big picture that you're hearing from top government and defense officials?
So while assessment is currently going on, the current action that we are seeing is that assessment of what really has, what is the kind of damage that has been extended to Pakistan. We've all been reporting that it is suspected that 2 Pakistani Air Force pilots have ejected near Srinagar. So there is an intense search operation that has been launched to locate them. Now we're just looking at the Pakistani media. They're reporting that Shahbaz Sharif has called for a meeting of the National Command Authority. So all of the developments that are happening in Pakistan also is being closely monitored. Our own Foreign Secretary is expected to brief with details about what really has happened overnight. The only official word we had last night, the statement from the Indian Army, was that at 26 locations drone attacks were carried out, and after the statement came out, there were surface to surface missiles also, and also Pakistani aircrafts which were launched. We have been reporting how they've got a bloody nose. They tried to cause damage at Pathankot, Jammu, Udhampur, and their media is continuing to maintain that there was some damage done to the Udhampur airbase, but something which has been rejected by defence officials. There was a briefing that was supposed to happen this morning, but it was put on hold because there was live air operation happening, and soon after that we heard that Pakistani jets have been downed near Srinagar. So currently the big picture is that Pakistan is trying to once again get the international community involved, trying to raise the bogey of nuclear weapon once again. India, however, maintains that we are only retaliating. Provocation is coming in from Pakistan and we are only retaliating, and that press conference by the Foreign Secretary is expected to toe the same line.
All right, Anand's also there here in the studios with me. So some of these pictures that we're getting, Anand, these are parts allegedly of a downed Pakistan Air Force jet that's been found in Lasjan. We saw that massive projectile from Jaisalmer as well, and then of course the intercepts, the CCTV footage of the intercepts of a Pakistani post where they were using to launch drones. What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, there are multiple reports coming through. There is confirmation that there are 2 jets that have been downed. There are also pieces that have landed at different portions across the western border. So be it Jammu and Kashmir, be it in Haryana, be it in Punjab. Now these are pictures in Gurdaspur. So again, there is a huge collection of people who have come there, and there is something that's landed in the fields. Now it could be live ammunition. Viewers who are watching this, if you see something that has landed somewhere close to your vicinity, or if you know people who are telling you that they are seeing something, they should maintain a fair distance. But what's also evident is that the impact here has made a bit of a crater or a hole on the other side. Now these are farmers who are tilling their lands, and this is an open field in Gurdaspur. Look at the crater there. That's the ditch. Now something's landed big here. For the impact for it to be on a field, and it's landed huge here. So something's landed here and they're trying to show what it is. It looks like portions of a projectile that has landed here, and it's quite a big crater. Now you look at this. This is quite a big crater, and there are a lot of people around. It looks like these pictures are coming at a time when local authorities have already arrived there, because this is a huge collection of people. But look at the size of the crater. This is a huge crater that's landed here. So something big has landed here in Gurdaspur with a huge amount of impact. So clearly, with each passing night, from small drones which had nothing, small projectiles which were not very potent, the size of the projectiles, the missiles, has gone very big. Anshul joins us with more details. Anshul, Gurdaspur, there's a huge collection of people. What seems to have landed there? Is it portions of a big missile? Does this further confirm the theory that Pakistan has actually launched ballistic missiles towards India?
Well, definitely, this seems like a big missile, something that has not been that has not been regularly seen over the last 3 days regarding the kind of projectiles that have been launched from the side of Pakistan. At this point in time, the locals have collected over there. The officials and the members of the army, official members of the army, are reaching on the spot. They will try to ascertain as to what kind of missile was actually used that has landed in Gurdaspur at this point. However, at the initial information that we are picking up, there has been no reports of any injuries that has been reported, but yes, there has been lost.
They seem to have landed in empty fields. You are in Pathankot at this point, Anshul. What's happening in Pathankot? Is it quiet? We spoke around the same time on Friday morning. This is now, we are into Saturday morning. What is happening in Pathankot at this point? Was it active? Did people cite explosions last night too? Have there been certain portions or debris of attempts by Pakistan that have been neutralized, that have also landed in Pathankot?
Well, yes, at least 25 to 30 explosions were heard by me, by myself, and all these 30 explosions were actually of projectiles that were sent from the side of Pakistan, but all of them were actually neutralized by our air defense systems. Especially from 5 a.m. this morning, there were one after the other that were attacks that were launched from the side of Pakistan, and that had landed over here. In fact, that were thwarted by our air defense system. Now, at the exact location at which I am standing, this is the last village of international border over here in Pathankot. Right in front of you, what you are seeing is Pakistan. I'll try and see you a few posts of Pakistan Pakistan over here. This village is a very, very important village, because the manner in which there has been amplification that has been done from the side of Pakistan. There are reports of certain firings that might have happened, but this is the international border. Over the last few hours, this has remained absolutely calm. But yes, a few locals actually claim that late last night they saw a few projectiles being launched from here. These projectiles were actually neutralized by our air defense systems. I'll just try and get in a word from a few people. भैया आप यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं, किस तरह का माहौल है यहाँ पर? बिल्कुल पाकिस्तान सामने है आपके और काफ़ी अभी टेंशन बढ़ी हुई है।
माहौल तो सर अभी ख़राब ही चल रहा है, आपको भी पता है, माहौल तो ख़राब ही चल रहा है। माहौल ऐसे अभी रात को तो कोई रहता नहीं इधर, जो लेडीज़ है जेंट्स है सब चले जाते हैं।
कुछ लोग तो रहते हैं गाँव,
कोई 10-15 जी रहते हैं।
कितनी आबादी है इस गाँव की?
इधर 450
आबादी है।
हाँ जी जी।
तो कैसा है, कभी वहाँ से कोई अटैक होने का?
अभी तक तो कोई नहीं हुआ सर, अभी तक इधर तो नहीं हुआ, बाहर होगा लेकिन इधर नहीं, सिंबल गांव में नहीं हुआ। हाँ जी।
So, thank you for that. Let's also bring you up to speed a little past 8 o'clock in the morning. The big picture is that there has been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Pakistan clearly climbing up the escalation ladder. What you're seeing are visuals from different parts along the northern and western sectors. Jaisalmer, a massive projectile of some sorts. It looks like a missile of some form. And then in Lasjan in Srinagar, you're seeing visuals of what is likely remnants of a downed Pakistan jet, a Pakistan Air Force jet. So let's bring you up to speed with the headlines that we're seeing. First, in Lasjan in Srinagar, in the outskirts of the city, parts of a Pakistani jet have been found. The pictures of the wreckage have been accessed. You can see this was inside the residential compound of an individual. Headline number 2, India managing to intercept Pakistani drones. We can show that CCTV footage as well. This is on a Pakistani launch pad they were using on the other side of the international border in Jammu. Top defense sources saying that India has destroyed this Pakistani post that was trying to launch drones, and of course the launch pads that have been used. The second image that you see is that of the destroyed drone. You can see the intercepts happening in the night sky, and then the second image, smoke and fire in the fields there. Headline number 3, part of a drone has been found in the fields of Amritsar. Amritsar bang on the border, just 60 kilometers between Amritsar and Lahore. So parts of a drone have been found in the rural parts of Amritsar in agricultural fields. You can see that as well. Headline number 4, a projectile from Pakistan has been found in Lasjan. This is, like I said, believed to be parts of a fighter jet of the Pakistan Air Force that was brought down in a dogfight over the skies of Srinagar. A bomb-like object has been found in Jaisalmer. This is in a place called Jamla village close to Pokhran. The Indian Army has neutralized the Pakistani projectile. It seems like parts of a missile. There's also that image of a much larger, almost 10 feet large projectile that's been captured there in Jaisalmer as well. So these are the various images that we have. We have Arunima Siddhant joining us. Siddhant, what's the international community saying? Has there been any response, any form of, wanting to calm down tempers, de-escalate the situation? It seems like both India and Pakistan are now locked in this escalatory phase, climbing the escalation ladder. Someone's got to come in and try and mediate and try and get both parties to back off, or are they saying, as Vance and Trump seem to be suggesting, that look, it's their problem, let them figure it out?
Well, yes, that's right, Zaka. In fact, international community is urging both sides to de-escalate. In fact, we have a fresh statement from G7 foreign ministers. Perhaps, first they condemned Pahalgam terror attack, then they urged both sides to de-escalate for the sake of regional peace and stability. In fact, Saudi Arabia is one country which is giving efforts for de-escalation. In fact, this offer had come from various countries for mediation and for giving for offering their good office for the mediation purpose between the two between India and Pakistan. But at this point in time, Zaka, you need a country which has leverage with both India and Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia seems to be the one. So this is the reason that in fact the special envoy of Saudi Arabia was in the national capital day before yesterday. In fact, he met Foreign Minister Jaishankar. He in fact met Prime Minister Modi, though there was no photographs released of him meeting Prime Minister Modi. Then yesterday he was in Islamabad, and in fact Islamabad released those photographs of him meeting Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir. Perhaps we really know very little about what was conversation all about. In fact, when he was here also in the national capital, there was nothing which we got in terms of information from Ministry of External Affairs or any other government wing regarding the conversation. Perhaps was he carrying somebody's message? What is the position of Saudi government? Whether that was conveyed to the Indian government, etc., etc. So we know very little. And today Saudi Arabia has come up with a statement, Zaka, confirming that this envoy was sent on a surprise visit to both India and Pakistan, perhaps to give efforts to de-escalate tension. But it doesn't look like
an unscheduled
that,
visit is the steer that we're getting. He's gone to both Islamabad as well as to New Delhi. First New Delhi and then Islamabad. Before I go to Anand, Aman is also joining us. Aman, what's the big picture? What are top government sources telling you? Because clearly things have escalated. This is the third night, the night between the 9th and 10th of May. It's the third night after Operation Sindoor. Clearly, we're now looking at an active conflict between India and Pakistan.
Well, absolutely, Zaka. As you correctly say, India, Pakistan both are on an escalatory ladder, and India is totally and squarely blaming Pakistan for what is happening. India is very clear, Zaka, that our attack, our retaliation was over with Operation Sindoor on May the 7th. It is since Pakistan which is upping the escalation, first by sending drones across the border, attacking 36 targets from Leh to Sirkri the previous night. And what has happened today early morning is a complete escalation, firing of ballistic missiles at India. This is something that India is saying will be responded in big measure. India has already responded today morning, and India is seeing a plot here, Zaka. India feels that, Pakistan waited for the IMF bailout. Till then, the drones which came were all recce missions, intelligence gathering missions, trying to test our air defenses, maybe trying to exhaust our air defenses. But Pakistan has been caught by shock and surprise today morning when it launched its full attack soon after getting the IMF bailout. India also trying to now tell the world that, look, you have bailed out a country. IMF has given a bailout to a country which has launched ballistic missiles at India, which is exporting terror. So the world community also needs to, sit up and take note. What Pakistan has done today morning, soon after getting the IMF bailout, and this is what India told the IMF very, very strongly yesterday also by abstaining from the vote and lodging its strong protest, that a country which is fomenting terror against India, why is it being given bailout of one bailout after the other? Nearly over 24 bailouts given to Pakistan over the last many years. India made that point on the world stage. India was not able to stop the bailout because of the way the IMF is structured. But today's strikes, Zaka, are completely escalating the matter. India is now saying the onus is on Pakistan to stop, to de-escalate. But if Pakistan does not stop, India is going to go to any lengths to protect its territory, to protect its military assets, to protect its civilian population. And that is why you've seen this morning, Zaka.
All right, thanks, Aman. Anand's here in our studios. That projectile that you showed from Jaisalmer, and I believe Anvit will also be joining us. We can go across to him. It's from a village part of the Pokhran, Jaisalmer, that belt. Can you show us that projectile, Anand? And there's a massive crater that's been left on the ground.
Well, these are updated images, Zaka. These are updated. Now, this is what, see, the serial numbers are also there. The UCP 213-15956. And the serial number is also put out. So there are more images coming through of the projectiles that were launched. This is confirmed proof that it is Pakistan that has launched ballistic missiles and also sending huge projectiles. Look at the impact which is there on the field. It's landed on a field and people are now, we'll go across to that side where the size of the projectile itself shows that this was a missile. This was not a smaller one, and it was not mounted on a drone or anything. This was a ballistic missile. This is the person who's walking us, and he's taking us to the place where the actual portion of it has landed. It has come through that area. That's what they are trying to show. See, there are other pieces also. There are more fractions and fragments that have fallen here. Look at this on the ground, and then He's pointing with now there are more. See, you see more smaller fragments that have gone in before we come and see the final big piece, that is that blue, dark blue, indigo blue kind of a missile. Now this is the actual color, or midnight blue or black. That's the color that that the missile actually has. Now he's showing the distance that this entire projectile, once it's crashed, it's gone and it's traveled. The fragments have traveled. See, there are more fragments here. There are more portions and more fragments here that we are seeing. There you go. This one again. Big pieces, big chunks which have landed. That's more than a foot and a half of the material or the external covering itself. And then this person is walking across to that particular projectile where he finds it. Now they say it is behind the bike. If you remember the first set of pictures, the bike was right there. Now there you go. We're going to freeze these pictures. They're going to walk, and that's where it is. So it's created a bit of a hole. It's created a bit of a trail as it comes there, and more people are now coming to see these pictures of this projectile. Now these are pictures from Udhampur. More pictures will be coming through. These are pictures from Udhampur that we've got. There are pictures from Jaisalmer that have come. The Jaisalmer first picture. Now this is confirmation. This is an open field where this piece has landed. There is also a piece that's landed in a huge projectile that's landed in Sirsa. So clearly Pakistan upping the ante and sending these projectiles. The world needs to watch these. The world has to see the ballistic missiles that were launched by Pakistan soon after they got the... Look at the crater. Look at this gap. It's opened it wide out here, and something's landed here too. So that's what the people are saying, that it's come from the skies. The people are pointing it out. It came from the skies. It came from there, and it's landed here. So there are drones that have landed. There are missiles that have landed near Pokhran. In Jaisalmer, there are big drone chunks that landed, which show that they had huge markings and also that they had munitions. Let's try and understand where all Pakistan, soon after the IMF bailout got a thumbs up for them, attacked Indian side on the western borders. Let's look at it. So they very actively targeted Udhampur. There is something that landed in Udhampur, but the Air Force station and the base there in Udhampur is safe. There is no damage done. They have attacked Jammu city vigorously, but right across here on Jammu, here on a park post which was launching the tubes for drones, we have actually neutralized. There is Pathankot. Now seriously, there has been some at least 25, Anshul was there from the CNN News 18 overnight at Pathankot, and he said at least 25 explosions over the skies I've heard overnight, and Pathankot they've actively tried to target. There is also Sirsa. Now the question is, Sirsa, where was this projectile aimed at? Was the Sirsa projectile intercepted, or this missile over the Sirsa skies intercepted while it was on its route to the national capital? Was it somewhere around Delhi? That's the big question. Did Pakistan, did Rawalpindi, did General Asim Munir and co target the national capital soon after the IMF bailout? That's the big question because of this missile that was intercepted over Sirsa. Now, what have we done? Soon after this happens, around midnight, between 12 to 12:30 p.m., 12:30 a.m., there is a counter that India launches. Now, India's counter is so fast, so swift that they have had huge reversals. What did we target? India targeted, the Indian Armed Forces targeted Islamabad, Noor Khan base, the PAF Murid base, Narowal, Shekhupura, Lahore, the Rafiki Air Base and the Sukur Airport in Sindh. All of them were targeted, and this is confirmed now that the base in Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi has suffered serious reversals. There are actually reports that the Pakistanis, let's see if they confirm it, that their entire fleet of C-130s has been rendered ineffective here. They have suffered serious reversals. They couldn't operate their machines in Pindi. Then also the Narowal Air Base, again they couldn't operate their machines from here because the air base has been hit. It's been hit hard. And there is one more, which was one more airbase that's been hit in Chakwal, or let me just see that. Yeah, in Sialkot. So this airbase also has been hit, and of course projectiles have landed, and there is confirmation of landings that have happened in Lahore where certain installations have been hit, Zaka. So clearly India's reaction has been far more punitive, and it's hurt the Pakistanis than what they attempted. But this treachery, the international community must note that the moment they get the bailout, Zaka, look what they unleashed.
Absolutely, and I think Omar Abdullah has underlined that point as well, that it can't be that Pakistan is given this bailout after bailout after bailout, and then some of those monies are diverted into directing terror and active aggression against India. I also want to get a quick word in from Anvit, who's in Jaisalmer, where we saw that massive image. It was a 10 feet long projectile, a rocket of some form. Anvit, if you're there, which part of Jaisalmer is it? It seemed like rural desert. What are the locals telling you? I mean, when did this land? How did they end up finding it? And I presume that either the army or the police would have taken away these wreckage, this remnants.
Yes, Zaka, the piece that has fallen has fallen in Pokhran. We were attempting to go towards the border, international border, ahead of Jaisalmer. We were stopped in, ahead of Tanot. We were stopped in Ramgarh. Ramgarh stands to be the last village beyond which civilian movement is not allowed. Media is also not allowed. Army has taken over and the BSF posts. From there, all the vehicles are being ridden. You can see this road is completely blocked. We are ahead of Jaisalmer in Ramgarh right now. In this area, last night, a huge shelling was witnessed, and many drones were also witnessed. Witnesses have said that many bombs were dropped, and some portions of drones that were intercepted by India have also fallen in this area. Yesterday we had shown how in Kishan Ghat one such piece was in a controlled detonation by the military. It was taken away. We have one witness who had witnessed huge amount of drone crashing in this area. Sir, आप यहीं रहते हैं?
जी, हम रामगढ़ रहते हैं।
यहाँ पे परसों काफी ड्रोन शेलिंग्स वगैरह हुई थी।
देखिए, यहाँ परसों रात को पाकिस्तान की तरफ से कुछ ड्रोन आए, तो हमारी सेना ने उसको तुरंत ही उसको
यहाँ पे भी कुछ
थोड़ा सा यहाँ पास कुछ गिरा था, वो फिर उसको पुलिस और सेना ने उसको ले लिया। तो देखिए, यहाँ सेना हमारी पूरी मुस्तैद से तैयार है, और उसके साथ साथ माते श्री तनोटा घंटियालिया वो भी तैयार है। जब 1971 में लड़ाई हुआ था तो माते श्री तनोटा ऐसे कोई भी बम फटा नहीं, कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ, अभी भी वैसा ही है, कोई भय वगैरह डर की कोई ऐसा नहीं है।
So basically, in this area, a lot of bombs and portions of drones that have fallen, that were intercepted, have fallen, and the army had been collecting all of those in with the local police. Yesterday also forensic teams were there in Kishan Ghat as well as in Ramgarh area, and further from here in Tanot as well. All the pieces have been gathered. They've been sent for examination to find out what is the origin, and also to find out what could have been the implication if they had exploded.
We'll leave it at that. I want to go to this piece of breaking news that MEA briefing has now been confirmed at 10:30 a.m. That is what we are given to understand. This is on Operation Sindoor. Remember, for the last 3 days, it's the Foreign Secretary who's been briefing the contingent of the media. So it will likely be a joint briefing of the MEA as well as officials from the Ministry of Defence. Last 2 days it was the young women officers from the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army, Wing Commander Singh and Colonel Qureshi. Both of them are also expected to be flanking the Foreign Secretary. But it has been a serious escalation overnight between the 9th and 10th, the night between the 9th and 10th of May. Pakistan, immediately after the announcement of the IMF bailout, has upped the ante in an attempt to try and take out some of the forward air bases of the Indian Air Force. They've targeted the Udhampur Air Force Station. They've targeted Udhampur, of course, is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Army Command. Also tried to hit the Jammu Air Force Station, Pathankot, which is our biggest forward air base. It has some of the squadrons of our 4.5 generation fighter jets. Also over the Sirsa Air Force Station. So multiple Air Force stations the Pakistanis tried to take out overnight. And this is the first sort of rung in the escalation ladder where two states or two armies, two air forces that are trying to take out each other's air force stations, because if the enemy cannot scramble his jets, then that is a serious tactical advantage that you have at the starting of any conflict. Siddhant is now joining us with further details. So the MEA briefing at 10:30 a.m., is it just going to be the Foreign Secretary, or is it going to follow the same pattern that we saw the last couple of days, Siddhant, the two young Army and Air Force officers also flanking the Foreign Secretary?
Well, so far, Zaka, we have a very limited details, but perhaps it could be the same format. What we have been seeing in last three press briefings of Operation Sindoor. In fact, we just got the confirmation from the government that at 10:30 there's going to be the press briefing, the joint press briefing of Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Defence. Perhaps there was a briefing which was scheduled early in the morning at around 5:45 a.m. Zaka, that briefing got postponed because the operations were going on. The focus was in the skies, and it was decided to postpone it to 10 a.m. And now we are getting to know that finally, Ministry of External Affairs has announced that there's going to be the joint press conference between Foreign Ministry and Defence Ministry at around 10:30. But this would be the first time that when Indian government will put its record straight as far as the developments which have taken place in last 12 hours. Zaka, both sides are climbing the escalatory ladder. Perhaps Indian side has taken down the Pak air bases. In fact, Pakistan has attempted to target key Indian military installations. In fact, Fateh missiles have also been used by Pakistan. The attempt to target Sirsa was thought by the Indian forces. So,
okay, so we're going to come to you as and when that briefing begins. I want to bring you up to speed if you're joining us at 8:30 this Saturday morning. These are the 5 or 6 big headlines that you need to know. It's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Multiple locations targeted by Pakistan here in India, and India giving it back in kind. Headline number 1, in Srinagar, in the outskirts, in a place called Lasjan, parts of a Pakistani Air Force jet, wreckage of a Pakistani Air Force jet have been found. These are the pictures of that in the Lasjan area. It's landed, thankfully, in the backyard of a residential complex, and therefore no one has been hurt or injured in the process. Headline number 2, India manages to intercept Pakistani drones. This is from the other side of the Jammu border, on the other side of the international border in Jammu, a place called Narowal. We're given to understand, you can see 2 sets of pictures. One, the intercepts happening on the background of the night sky. These are CCTV images. The intercepts happening in the middle of the sky. And the second set of images are the wreckage. There you go, the smoke and fire out in the fields of Jammu. You can see that happening. That's headline number 2. Headline number 3, we're given to understand a part of a drone. This is wreckage that's been found in the fields of Amritsar. Amritsar over the last couple of nights has been hot, there's been a lot of activity, drone activity. This again seems to be the wreckage of a drone. Yesterday, India did the unprecedented step of calling out Turkey and saying Turkish-made drones were being used by Pakistan on probing missions, on exploratory missions to try and test India's air defenses. Headline number 4, a Pakistani projectile has been found in Lasjan. Like I said, this is believed to be parts or remnants of a downed F-16. There's also confirmation of a dogfight that happened over the skies of Srinagar. 5 missiles, we're given to understand, were fired from the Srinagar military base and then believed to have brought down what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet, the make of which we don't know. Hopefully we will get some confirmation of that from the Foreign Secretary's briefing in about a couple of hours' time. Headline number 5, a massive bomb-like object. It's about 10 to 12 feet long. It's huge. It's been found in a place called Jamla. It's a village in Pokhran in the wider Jaisalmer region of Pakistan, of Rajasthan. That, of course, you can see the second image, which shows that massive, almost 10-12 feet long rocket-like projectile that's been landed there, that's been neutralized there. The Indian Army has neutralized this missile attack in the sky. So this is headline number 5. Headline number 6, Pakistan also targeting civilian areas. In Jammu, there have been, unfortunately, 5 deaths, 5 civilians who have died. In Rajouri, a district collector level officer has also passed away. Unfortunately, his house was the target of heavy shelling. There's been heavy artillery shelling, both on the line of control as well as on the international border. Pakistani projectiles also hitting a temple, a famous temple in Jammu called the Shambhu Temple. Headline number 7, damaged parts of a drone or something like a drone has been found in Udhampur. This is in the Narsu part of Udhampur district. We don't know further details, but it seems like wreckage from a drone yesterday. Udhampur, of course, is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command, and the attempt there was to try and target the Northern Command headquarters as well. Security forces have reached the spot. I also want to show that Shambhu Temple picture. Again, this is wreckage from a projectile of some sort at the Shambhu Temple, a very famous temple in Jammu. Thankfully, again, it landed in the outer perimeter of the temple complex, and therefore there's been no injuries or no one has been hurt. That, of course, again, a famous temple in Jammu. So clearly, the activities have increased between both India and Pakistan in the intervening night between the 9th and 10th of May. Akash is joining us from Jammu, where multiple attempts have happened in civilian pockets as well as the Air Force station, but all of it has been thwarted. Akash, what is the latest that you're hearing from top defense sources?
Right, Zaka, I'm standing in this Rehari colony. First of all, I'll try to give you a sense of what has happened here. There you have forensic teams and in fact the police here. This is one civilian property that has got a damage because of the sort of attacks that we have seen in the morning today. And there I am being given this sort of, this is something, a part of possibly a drone or the missile or the projectile that came here. And there you have. There you see, these are the individuals who have handed over this thing to me, and they are saying that this was a part of the sort of damage and in fact the projectile that came here. I have been told that many people who were here in the house got injured. I'll try to talk to them as well as to what actually happened, but before that I'll try to give you a sense as to what actually happened. There you have the top floor of the house that has got damaged. Multiple cars that have been standing here in fact have got the damage. There you have in the close vicinity around 50-meter area is damaged. We still not don't know as to if it was a drone or missile, but I'll try to in fact talk to the individuals as well. I'll try to talk to them. सर क्या हुआ था यहाँ पे और कितने बजे हुआ बता पाएंगे आप अभी आए हैं यहाँ का कोई है क्या हुआ है यहाँ पर
मिसाइल वगैरह वो रेड नीचे गिरी है छत पे
कितने लोग रहते हैं इस घर में
यहाँ पे ऊपर 4 रहते हैं सेकंड फ्लोर में भी 4 रहते हैं नीचे 6 रहते हैं
तो वो ठीक है अभी
हाँ जी
उनको कोई चोट वगैरह लगी उनको चोट वगैरह नहीं लगी अभी ये फोरेंसिक्स वगैरह टीम कितने बजे हुआ लगभग कितने बजे कहा
ये 5:50 पे
सुबह 5:50 पे तो किसने देखा कोई मिसाइल वगैरह थी या ड्रोन वगैरह था क्योंकि
लोग सोए हुए थे अचानक से आवाज आई सभी उठे
जम्मू मेडिकल कॉलेज पास में है हमें बोला जा रहा है कि शायद वहां पे टारगेट था कुछ ऐसा कुछ बताया यहाँ पे जो एजेंसीज काम कर रही हैं All right, Zaka, forensics teams are here once again. I'll try to give you the visuals of this particular house. This is the house, that has in fact got the damage. I'll show you the in fact visuals of the workers who have been in fact there, the police, Jammu Kashmir police, and also the civil defense staff. Forensics teams are basically checking, the sort of damage and in fact the sort of thing, the projectile that was used. But it is unfortunate that civilian properties are being targeted. Either it is a failure or it is intentionally being done. In both the cases, Pakistan is exposed because they have been saying that they don't want to escalate. But in this particular case, we have been seeing that how they have been launching attacks. And since last night, late in the evening, we have seen that starting from Jammu, they have been targeting many properties. We have seen the Firozpur area as well, where civilian property was targeted. And here in Jammu as well, we have this civilian property that was on target and in fact that has received sort of damage. Zaka.
All right, Akash, we'll come back to you in just a bit, but we're getting this piece of breaking news. Reuters is reporting, and we want to be very, very responsible and restrained in our reporting. Pakistani Prime Minister, and we can, it's flashing on your screen at the bottom half as well. The Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has called a meeting of the National Command Authority. It is the authority that has overseen the nuclear powers or the nuclear command authority of the Pakistani military. He has called for a meeting of the National Command Authority today on Saturday. The Pakistani military has confirmed this to Reuters after Islamabad launched a major military operation against India in the night between 9th and 10th. The National Command Authority is the top body for civilian as well as military officials that take serious security decisions, including those related to the nuclear arsenal of Pakistan. This could be saber-rattling. I don't think we should fall for this propaganda, but clearly the Pakistanis seem to be ratcheting up. Last night, they're escalating it, going a couple of notches up the escalation ladder. India forced to respond, to retaliate to that. Now, some nuclear saber-rattling as well by the Pakistani Prime Minister. He's called for a meeting of the National Command Authority, which will have the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, the Defence Minister, and of course the heads of the armed forces as well, the Chief of Army Staff, Navy and Air Force Staff. Let me go across to Aman Sharma, a political editor. He's joining us live from outside South Block. As we expect that press conference by the Foreign Secretary as well as the individuals, the officers of the Army and the Navy. What's the reading in South Block, Aman? What is the big picture? Because this is a serious escalation that Pakistan has tried in the last 6-7 hours or so.
Well, Zaka, what I'm hearing right now is that top government sources are slamming the IMF bailout to Pakistan last evening. They are clearly saying what has happened since today morning underlines India's objections yesterday to IMF of the possibility of the misuse of the debt financing funds for state-sponsored cross-border strikes, terrorism by Pakistan. India is underlining this again, saying that the IMF bailout was completely mistimed and Pakistan actually was waiting for this money to start its big operation against India. India sources are saying that with billions in the bank, Pakistan is now putting missiles in the air against India. The world community needs to realize this, wake up to it, and what it has done by arming Pakistan again and again with these IMF funds. So I think at this press conference, which we will see at 10:30 a.m., India could raise this point that this IMF bailout is ending up arming Pakistan against India, and especially its terrorist activity and the escalatory ladder that Pakistan is on. See, Zaka, government sources are very, very clear that the original escalation is of April 22nd, the Pahalgam attack which Pakistan did. India did its offensive on May 7th, 96 hours ago, by doing Operation Sindoor, but only targeting terrorist infrastructure of Pakistan, not targeting any military infrastructure, not targeting the civilian population. The targeting of the military infrastructure, that cycle, Zaka, Indian government sources are saying has been started by Pakistan. On the morning of May 8th, we saw the first these 300 to 400 drones trying to attack our front air bases, and today morning, with missiles, Pakistan is trying to take out our multiple air bases, Pathankot, Udhampur. All these attacks have been foiled, but Pakistan intention is very clear to take up this escalatory ladder, and they stopped till the IMF payout. They didn't do it. It was more an intel exercise, this drone which were flown, but now this is the ultimate attack by Pakistan, and India is responding very, very strongly. India has decided that if you will target our military infrastructure, we will take out your military infrastructure as well. And India has targeted Rawalpindi's airbase. This is deep inside Pakistan, Zaka, and this is a big, big message to Pakistan that if Pakistan does not stop here, India will go to any lengths to teach Pakistan a firm lesson. We'll hear more about it at the 10:30 briefing. I think I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think Indian government is very, very upset over this IMF bailout, and is very clearly saying that Pakistan is to blame for this escalation ladder that we are on.
And just very quickly, there was some note or some justification of why India abstained at the IMF meeting yesterday. What's the rationale? What's the reasoning behind that?
Zaka, the government says that basically there is no option to say a no to a vote. You can either abstain or say yes. That has been the convention at the IMF, and IMF has many member countries, but every member country is not like one member, one vote. Your economic strength actually has a larger proportion in the vote there. So there are many questions being asked, Zaka, here also, that, why did the US not come out strongly to block this bailout for the IMF for Pakistan? So a lot of questions are being asked in the Indian security establishment, because India yesterday put up a very, very strong objection to this IMF bailout. India was also preparing for it for the last 2 to 3 days, knowing very well that if Pakistan gets this money, it could, the escalation in fact could climb, and India's fears are only coming true. The world community needs to sit up and realize that, what it has done yesterday, and I think India is going to strongly protest about this at the press conference as well, I believe.
All right, Aman, thanks for that. We'll come back to you at the 10 o'clock press conference, 10:30 press conference. Now, Anand, you have the images of the intercept of the ballistic missile?
This is over the Sirsa skies and what looks to be a portion of the Fateh missile. So this is from Sirsa. It's landed on a field. It was intercepted on the skies of Sirsa. I'm going to check with our team if we can put out the map and also the visuals. We can split it on this wall so that our viewers can understand the map graphics and with these visuals, because it's landed on Sirsa. And why this Sirsa is important? Because this Fateh missile, this ballistic missile, many believe was intended towards the national capital. It was intended towards Delhi. We'll try and show you these visuals and then try and split it here on this wall itself with the map graphics and these pictures, because then you can understand where this is. So if you can just pull this out, put this out, and just the map, because where Sirsa is, we need to understand where Sirsa is. Sirsa and the trajectory of the missile, many believe, was headed towards the national capital, and this is the big portion. This is the big portion. This is the big portion of the back end of the Fateh missile. So you'll see the tail, and that's the tail portion of the Fateh missile. Now you see These are authorities who are already there. The local police is already there, cordoning off, and now they're taking them away. It's being carted away. The portions have been now lifted, put on the back of a big vehicle, a pickup truck, and then they'll be carted. This is the big shot. Now this is the picture. Now look at this. This is the Fateh missile back end. Now if you have seen pictures of Pakistan flaunting the Fateh missile, the rear end of this portion with the wings and this is exactly similar to the design of the Fateh missile, and that's the reason why the ballistic missile launched towards the national capital. That is the level of escalation that Pakistan has triggered soon after the IMF bailout. So within 15 minutes of the IMF bailout at 12:05 a.m., that's when this was first reported or registered, that the possibility of ballistic missiles being fired towards Bharat, and later in the night the confirmation coming, this has landed, it's been intercepted. So our air defense systems, the Indian forces air defense systems, are capable of thwarting even ballistic missiles. This is the biggest proof of it, and perhaps egg on the face of the Pakistanis at multiple levels. But more importantly, how treacherous Pakistan can be. This missile has landed on a field in Haryana, in Sirsa, and this is where it is. Now have a look at this. This is Sirsa. This is where this missile has landed. Look at the trajectory. Where is the national capital? The trajectory of this missile was towards the national capital. That's what many people are expecting this. We are going to wait for confirmation during the media briefing that this missile, these are portions of the missile. There are again more pictures coming through, more small fragments that after this entire missile was disintegrated, it was demolished, it was intercepted, and fragments have landed all across in Sirsa, in Haryana. And understand this, Sirsa, this is the range, this was the direction, this is the national capital region. So that's the reason why this big question is being asked. Was this ballistic missile, along with a few others that were fired by the Pakistanis, intended not just as military installations but also perhaps certain portions of the national capital? And if that is something which is confirmed, if it is confirmed in the briefing today, that is serious escalation by the Pakistanis. And more importantly, this has come after the IMF bailout, where they tried to play with a begging bowl saying help us out. $137 billion overextension of their debt to the world, and they continue to borrow and redirect this money towards acts of war. Clear acts of war, clear acts of military escalation by Pakistan, when Bharat's fight has been only against terror. It was a war on terror, not a war against Pakistan, but the Pak military, the Pak state is backing jihadis, terrorists, jihadi tanzeems, and this is what they are willing to launch ballistic missiles because Bharat has waged a war on terror. Zaka.
A massive escalation, no doubt about it. You had, these swarms of drones, unarmed drones, no explosives there. Then you had explosive-laden drones. Then you had these short-range missiles, and now you have the ballistic missile. This is a medium-range Fatah 2 missile, a range of about 400 kilometers, directed en route to Delhi, and it was intercepted in the skies over Haryana. And those pictures that Anand was showing, quite dramatic, that the manner in which it's been intercepted as well. Of course, India's air defense systems working round the clock into the T. Let me go across to Arun Danta and Arunima, both of whom are joining us. So what's the word in Delhi this Saturday morning, Arun Danta? Clearly the government is closely following all of these developments. It's been a very hot night. Escalation by Pakistan, India responding for good measure. What is the reading in government this Saturday morning?
That's right, Zaka. Yesterday that was the reason why you saw those long meetings taking place here. Prime Minister Modi chaired 3-4 important meetings. In fact, the last meeting concluded somewhere around 12 with the Foreign Secretary and the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, and we were told that in fact the RAW Chief and NSA Ajit Doval, IB Chief, they all were present in that meeting. Before that, of course, we saw that the review meeting conducted by Prime Minister Modi with Rajnath Singh, three Tri-Services Chief, NSA, in fact, RAW Chief and IB Chief were present in that. And also, before that, there was a meeting with the veterans and the former chiefs of different forces of the country. And in fact, they were, of course, expecting some sort of misadventure by Pakistan yesterday night, and that's the reason why we saw that India was in fact ready for any sort of action. That's the reason why we saw that how Indian forces have retaliated to Pakistan's drones or the ballistic missiles which they fired. And of course we know that Prime Minister Modi is very closely monitoring the situation. It's been 4 or 5 days since when we are given to understand that Prime Minister Modi has been awake during the night, has been constantly in touch with the NSA Ajit Doval. At this point I'm outside the residence of Prime Minister Modi. It seems calm at this point, but perhaps the way action is taking place, you will see flurry of meetings.
I think there will be meetings in the next few hours. Thanks for that, Arun. We'll be in touch with you. Arunima is also joining us, but we got this breaking news. The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, let's go to that breaking news. Marco Rubio has now spoken directly to the Pakistan Chief of Army Staff, General Asim Munir. This happened just a few hours ago. This is the first conversation that any international official has had directly with the Pakistani Army Chief. Remember, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia was in Islamabad just last night. He was part of that meeting that was hosted by the Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif. But this direct call between Marco Rubio and the Chief of Army Staff, General Munir, is an important one. It's the first conversation that an international official has had with General Munir. We'll try and get Siddhant. Siddhant is on the phone line. So Rubio has spoken with the Pakistani NSA, who's also the DGISI, General Malik. But now a direct conversation with General Munir, who, of course, the ball is really in his court. If he stops, then India will stop.
Yes, that's the message. That's exactly the message, Zaka. And in fact, last time around, Marco Rubio spoke to Shahbaz Sharif. But perhaps Marco Rubio also must have realized that Shahbaz Sharif is ineffective and he's just a puppet prime minister. And this is the reason that he is speaking to the real boss of Pakistan, perhaps the mastermind of Pahalgam terror attack, Asim Munir. And in fact, Reuters is reporting, Zaka, that this conversation has taken place. And as we were speaking before also, that US wants both sides to de-escalate. In fact, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also said that President wants both sides to de-escalate. Perhaps US is also giving efforts in the same direction. This is the second telephonic conversation that Marco Rubio had with the Pakistani side. In fact, last time he spoke to Shahbaz Sharif, that call was really ineffective. Nothing happened after that. So today he decided to speak directly to Asim Munir, the Army General. Perhaps it also reflects upon and perhaps it's once again established that who runs the show in Pakistan. And if US wants Pakistan to de-escalate, then US has to speak directly to the Army General, not somebody from the political.
We've got an update from the ADG PI of the Indian Army as well. We'll go to Arunima with this. Basically, the ADG PI putting out a tweet saying Pakistan's blatant escalation with drone strikes and other munitions continues along our western borders. In one such incident today, approximately around 5 a.m., multiple enemy drones were spotted flying over the Khasa Cant, the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar. The hostile drones were instantly engaged and destroyed by our air defense units. So now we're getting to hear of multiple such drone and missile attacks. Arunima, you're in North Block, South Block. Whereabouts are you, and what is the word from government this morning?
Yes, so the Raisina Hills is abuzz with activities. South Block has had called for a press conference at about 5:30, but I think this is the air operation which led them to postponement, and now at 10:30 the Foreign Secretary is likely to brief. What ADGPI has put out is that at about 5 a.m. this morning there were multiple enemy armed drones that were spotted over the Khasa Cant in Amritsar. The hostile drones were instantly engaged and destroyed, and Pakistan's blatant attempt to violate India's sovereignty and endanger civilians' life is unacceptable. 3 civilians have been killed in what has happened since last night, including one district level official there in Rajouri. And what the border security force has also put out is that while the Jammu airbase was getting targeted around 9 p.m, 2100 hours last night, there was intense firing at the Jammu stretch of the international border as well. So back to back 2 days now we've seen. Day before yesterday we saw it in Samba, yesterday at Jammu, attempts to also carry out infiltration while these air raids are going on. Yesterday they had shot dead 7 from the Jaish-e-Mohammed module in Samba. Yesterday also BSF confirming that there was firing at the Jammu sector, and now ADGPI confirming that there were hostile drones over Amritsar as early as this morning 5 a.m. Around the same time, tentatively we were told there was a dogfight in Srinagar, and for that we're still waiting for the ADGPI and for the Air Command to tell us exactly what is the situation. But definitely things have escalated in the last 24 hours.
All right, I also want to go across to Akash Sharma, who is more on this. So the Army's first official statement this morning, The ADGPI saying there's some hostile drones, a swarm of drones over the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar, and those have been neutralized. Akash, what more are you hearing?
Right. So first of all, two important things in this tweet by the ADGPI. First one, that they are somewhere acknowledging the attack launched towards Amritsar today in the morning that we had also reported Zaka. And second, that they are saying the message is loud and clear that it cannot be accepted. Armed forces are in fact reacting since morning, and we have been learning, as Arunima pointed out, the dogfight, of course, the air defense, thwarting the attempts and destroying the enemy drones, and also Indian Army destroying the enemy posts. So a number of things are happening, but civilians are somewhere affected. Zaka, I have been mentioning this since morning, that while they are targeting the military infrastructure, they are also possibly targeting and intentionally targeting, civilian properties, and this is the reason why we have the damages like such that I am showing you in the visuals in the backdrop. Zaka, Indian Army and in fact Indian Armed Forces are going to brief us officially in some time from now, where we'll get to know as to what was the sort of action that was taken last night in retaliation. Of course, we know that how their air defense systems at different Air Force stations in Pakistan were targeted and in fact destroyed. But as far as other information is concerned and other inputs are concerned, so we are waiting for that particular brief. I'll once again try to show you the visuals there. There you can see the damage. Zaka, it was it is not in fact confirmed as to what it was. I'm showing you those broken glasses of that particular window there. People are also talking about some sort of projectile and then the splinters. So possibly it can be a kamikaze drone that hit the building and then got destroyed. So we are waiting for the confirmation. Okay. But looking at the damage, it seems there you have the main target was that building. Rajesh ji, if you can show, that building was the main target, Zaka, and then okay, I believe CM is there. Yes, CM is there, and I'll try to. All
right, we'll come back to you, Akash, in a moment as you try to go across and see if we can get a soundbite from Omar Abdullah. But the ADGPI's tweet showing these pictures as well. Those are the remnants of the Pakistani drone that was sighted above the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar. Arunima is also there with us. I can see some wheels. I'm not sure what the wheels are. Clearly, it seems to have hit something on the ground. Those are the remnants, the wreckage that you can see from the drones that were sent over the Amritsar cantonment. Arunima, what more do we know?
So there's also a video that has been tweeted out by the ADGPI handle. I think it is showing how the drone attack, the hostile drone attack, was taken down, and these pictures gives you a sense of the marking that you see. YHAPFWH, the filling date is mentioned there, the filled lot is mentioned, the explosive lot, the weight, the total. So this looks like an ammunition that was being carried with the drone that the ADGPI has tweeted out. The ammunition and the remains of the drones, and also the time when the drone was intercepted. So there's visual proof, there's video evidence that is now being given out, and this is a trend that we have seen ever since Operation Sindoor has begun. And top government sources, government functionaries actually confirmed this to me, that after Balakot and after the surgical strike post Uri, there was a lot of question mark. Pakistan tried to negate the surgical strike by saying that nothing has happened really here. But this time India has gone prepared with technological advancement. Also, it is better prepared. It's putting out evidence to show Pakistan's complicity. All these labeling on the ammunition, the filling date, the batch number, the lot number is going to be shown to the international community to prove that Pakistan's escalation, and Pakistan is trying to target civilians, target our military base, escalate the entire situation, and Pakistan is definitely suffering a bloody nose by the way their misadventure is being countered by our air defense system.
All right, Arunima, we'll come back to you. That's the Indian Army statement. On the left, you're seeing images from Rawalpindi in Jammu, where the Chief Minister, I believe, has gone to the residence of the affected victim there. I believe Akash is there for us. Akash, tell us, did Omar Abdullah say anything as he came into this in this house that's been hit yesterday by a Pakistani projectile? Did he say anything to the media, or are we waiting for him to come back and then speak to the media?
Not yet. Zaka, he has gone, upstairs to check the sort of damage that this property has received. Possibly he'll be, coming back and will be speaking to media. But this is important, given the fact that civilian properties are being targeted, and we have, received this sort of damage where not just this property but the adjacent properties are also damaged. In fact, the vehicles that are standing on this particular road, Rajesh will show you the visual. In fact, have got damaged. We have these security officials who have been trying, who have been in fact trying to get the people away from this particular place. But then Umar Abdullah is very much here. In fact, he is expected to speak to media in some time from now. People are standing here. Locals are standing here. They have been in fact saying since morning that they need some sort of action. Pakistan, should be there should be some sort of retaliation and there should be some sort of answer to Pakistan. I was speaking to one lady. She was crying. She's saying that this is her house and she could have lost her life in this particular attack. But at this point in time, I'm showing you the visuals where CM has gone upstairs to check the sort of damage that this property has received, Zaka. And there you have civil defense volunteers, the Jammu Kashmir police, and also the CRP. In some time from now, it is expected that Umar Abdullah will be speaking to media. But yes, at least 10 people we have been told have sustained injuries in this particular attack in this vicinity, Zaka.
All right, Akash, thanks for that. Anand is also here as we try and bring you some pictures. There's been a whole bunch of pictures of remnants of drones, projectiles, missiles that have been spotted in different parts from Jammu to Jaisalmer. This is the picture of the home in Rehari. But Anand, this is what the ADGPI has just tweeted. This seems to be the wreckage of a drone over Amritsar cantonment.
See, not just the drone. Look at the size of the drone. These are not the small drones anymore. These are far bigger now, and they have these markings. So the ADGPI has also figured out the markings, and of course they had munition. They had a certain level of payload which was supposed to be for impact. So clearly the Pakistanis over the last 2 or 3 days have been sending drones without any munition as probing, and this is exactly what there was a preparedness, there was an understanding what the Pakistanis are trying to do, but they underestimated Bharat's capabilities. They thought that over 2 days the entire air defense system would have been used up and there would be a free passage for their missiles and for their drones with a huge amount of payload and munitions. So that is something that's been marked out, but they've been neutralized. They've been neutralized by our air defense systems, and perhaps the Pakistanis don't understand. They have a stomach for escalation only for 3 days. They cannot fight an intense war for more than 3 or 4 days. That's the reality. Bharat is ready for 6 months. Bharat is ready for 6 months, and if required more. That's the difference. So they don't know who they are taking panga with, and the fact is that this is egg on the face again for 4 nights in a row for General Asim Munir. 4 nights in a row, he's just met with more failures, and on the other hand, look at the losses. The Noor Khan airbase in Pindi has not just been destroyed, but there is a huge reversal for the Pakistanis there. Their machines can't take off because they have been rendered ineffective across 3 airbases. That's what's happened. But here, this time around, the locals need to be aware. Our hearts go and our prayers with those who are having material loss of, because of their houses and their fields being damaged, and also because of people who are getting injured or loss of lives of civilians. But please don't go close to any of these munitions. That's the important part. Stay away, stay clear, because some of these may be live munitions.
So
yes,
we're getting live pictures of Omar Abdullah just coming out from that house in Rehari. I believe he's speaking to the media. If we can go to those pictures. Omar Abdullah has gone to an affected home in Rehari in Jammu. Can we show those pictures, please? Yeah, there you go. That's the affected home. He's just come out. He's, I think, met with the individuals there. In Rajouri also, one district collector officer district collector rank officer has lost his life. In all, 5 people have lost, 5 civilians have lost their life in Jammu. Akash is there. Akash, Omar still inside the house. Is he making his way out? Has he said anything to the media yet?
Zaka, I cannot hear you. Umar Abdullah is still, assessing the situation. In fact, is taking a stock of the situation. In fact, he has gone inside the second house where the lady, who owns this house has gone, in fact, inside and is somewhere briefing the Chief Minister as to what actually happened, at what time, at what was the intensity. And then he is coming out. Possibly, we'll try to speak to him as well as to now when civilians are targeted and their properties are targeted. What is wait कहाँ आ रहे हो? All right. So, has in fact gone to some third property now, and in some now he is expected to speak to media. but then at this point in time, this is very important. There is a series, in fact, of houses, in fact, which have in fact received this sort of damage, where we have been told that there was possibly a drone that hit the building and then got exploded, and because of those splinters, we have the nearby properties, also got damaged. And in fact, the vehicles that are standing here, you can see the debris there on this particular car, and a lot of people are standing here at this point in time, and they are very furious because of the fact that they have been saying that we are seeing these actions on a daily basis now, and now some sort of strong retaliation should be there from the Indian Armed Forces.
I'll come back to you, Akash, as and when the Chief Minister comes out. He's visiting multiple houses which have been affected in Rajouri. Yes, Anand, you were showing us the ADGPI the tweet
yes,
and the video.
Let's go back to the pictures. The fact is that we'll go back to now. This has payload. Now, the only thing for our viewers and whoever are there in these local areas have to be that if there are fragments, portions that fall of debris or destroyed missiles, etc., or drones, just stay clear of them. Don't go and touch any of these parts, because a lot of them seem to have live munitions. The ADGPI has actually circled out, and this is live payload. So, with the aim, with the intent to destroy, destruct and hurt, and it's ballistic missiles, there are other projectiles, there's loitering munition, and also drones with a certain level of capability. If you see the wheels on these drones, it surely shows that it was carrying a significant level of payload with the intent of trying to drop and then perhaps head back. Though you can see these. So we have to see the nature, and a lot of these are either Turkey made or China made, these drones. Now these are the houses. Omar Abdullah is there at this residence. Is he coming out? I don't think he's speaking to the media. He's stepping out. These are live visuals coming through. The media is trying to speak with him, but he's not speaking. He's just going to meet the families, and perhaps he'll move away from this location and then speak to the media later on. He's actually tweeted, and he said that he's alarmed at the fact that the international community has allowed this entire bailout. And I think there is going to be, Zaka, Pallavi is getting us more information that Bharat is going to push for a serious reconsideration of this bailout that's been given to the Pakistanis. This is treachery, and this is deliberate escalation. You said Marco Rubio has dialed General Munir, but the dialing has to go to the IMF. How did they approve this bailout without understanding Pak's intent? Look at what they've done. They're attacking civilian installations, a temple near Jammu. That lady is actually turned around and said, "Bahut ho gaya, Modi ji, ab maro inko." Bahut ho gaya. We've shown enough and more of restraint, because they don't seem to learn. Omar Abdullah himself is very, very peeved. If you look at it, he's also showing great amount of restraint in his emotions when he's tweeting as a chief minister. He's putting out and saying, look what the Pakistanis are doing, and look what the international community has allowed. That I think there is a serious dissent and dissonance with the IMF for what they have done in a situation like this. You can't go and give a nation which is actually standing for according state funerals to jihadis and proscribed terrorists. You can't give them a $1.3 billion bailout. And that's what the IMF has gone ahead and done.
All right, we're getting that piece of breaking news now. Top official government sources telling Pallavi Ghosh that India will go back to the International Monetary Fund and ask them to reconsider the bailout that's been given to Pakistan. It's over $1 billion. It's part of the $7 billion tranche, the agreement between the IMF and Pakistan over a 4-year period. India shall use international pressure, diplomatic pressure, to wake the conscience of the IMF. Operation Sindoor is no way for closure. India has not and will not target civilians. The opposite is what Pakistan is doing. Pallavi Ghosh, tell us more. I mean, ultimately, look, if the Americans, who have 17% weightage on the IMF board, if they say no, this bailout can be cancelled. But why haven't the Americans said that? And what is India's strategy from here on out?
That's exactly the question which India is asking. Why is it that America said no? Because Donald Trump's earlier statement, where he said that we've given $3.3 billion to Pakistan, but we've got nothing out of them, they've done nothing for us. That is something which India is going to use effectively against Americans as well, and make the point to them that you may be one of the largest contributors to the IMF. I know this logic is going around, your money, we use it the way we want to. That's at least how the stakeholders of the IMF were talking about. But the point is that isn't an international organization also to be held accountable? And they're also to ensure that the money that they're using and giving out is actually used for a good cause, or at least for the cause what it is meant to. You know, Zaka, if you look at the note which was released by the government of India yesterday in its response to IMF, and the statement which India made at the IMF meeting yesterday was that we leave it to your morality to decide how that money should be given and whether you should give a bailout to Pakistan because they have been an official offender. I think it's this conscience awakening call which is now being taken by the government, and therefore
all right,
they're going to
Pallavi,
go
I'm
back,
sorry to interrupt, but apparently there's some air activity where Akash is. He's in Rehari in Jammu. Akash, yes.
Zaka, I'm showing you the visuals, possibly some air activity. There I'm showing you the clouds there. We have this, okay, we have been asked to go inside because there are in fact some attempts, there were some attempts, in fact these attempts have been thwarted. I'm showing you the visuals of the air activities. I'm also hearing some sort of roar, possibly of the jets, but there I'm showing you the visuals of the clouds where we have that white smoke, and in fact we have been told that there is some fresh attempt possibly when CM was here. Zaka.
All right, that seems to be some activity there, some air activity. The reporters have been asked to move inside. These are the remnants of the damaged buildings in Rehari. So these are deferred pictures as well. We'll come back to you, Akash, as and when we can establish some confirmation of what kind of air activity there is. You could hear sirens in the background as well. You can see an official asking Akash to move in. I believe the three defense chiefs have also reached South Block. There is a high-level meeting going on, and this will continue. This will continue through the day. If you're joining us at 9 o'clock this morning, these are the big headlines. It's been a hot night between India and Pakistan at the line of control at the international border. Let's bring you up to speed with what you should know in this escalating situation between India and Pakistan. Headline number one, Pakistan's Fatah missile that was aimed at Delhi has been intercepted and downed over Haryana. You can see the images there, massive remnants that have been left behind, the wreckage that's been left behind. This is a ballistic missile, 400-kilometer range, was in the direction of Delhi, but it's been intercepted over the skies of Haryana, and you can see it's fallen, the wreckage has fallen in the open fields there in Haryana. The villagers taking those pictures earlier this morning. Headline number two, it's not just in Haryana, in Srinagar, in the Lasjan area, in the outskirts of Srinagar, parts of what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet, which was brought down in a dogfight. That wreckage landed up in the backyard of a residential complex. The individual whose house it was where this wreckage was found, he is of course now speaking with the authorities. He has taken these pictures in what is believed to be the wreckage of a downed Pakistani fighter jet. Headline number three, India has managed to intercept Pakistani drones. These are two sets of images, CCTV images. This is the second set showing the wreckage after the interception happened. This is in the Jammu Narowal sector. The interception happening there. That's the first set of images. The interception happening in the night sky. And then the second set, which shows the destroyed Pakistani drones and the launch pad that was used by Pakistan to launch those drones. So you can see fire and smoke up in the fields in Jammu. Headline number four, a part of a drone has also been found in Amritsar. You had the ADGPI. This part is what was found in rural Amritsar. You can see the fields there, the fields being readied for the next season. You can see the part of the wreckage. That's clear that these are drones in rural Amritsar. The ADGPI also tweeted the drone that was visible in the Amritsar Cant, in the Khasa Cant in Amritsar. That too has been brought down by India's air defense system. Headline number five, a Pakistan projectile has been found in Lasjan in Srinagar. Ishan was there. This is the same area where you saw the wreckage of what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet being brought down after a dogfight. What that is will be established by the authorities. Our Ishan Wani was there reporting from the backyard of that residential complex where which is the point of impact. Headline number six, a bomb-like object was found in a place called Jamla village in Pokhran in rural Rajasthan, in the deserts of Pokhran, Rajasthan. The Indian Army managed to neutralize this drone and missile attack in the sky, and what you're seeing is wreckage of that missile. Headline number seven, Pakistan targeting civilian areas. That's where our Akash Sharma was reporting from in Rehari. Multiple homes have been targeted. There's a temple called the Shambhu Temple in Jammu. That has also been targeted. Overall in Jammu, 5 people, I'm afraid, have died, both in artillery shelling as well as in Pakistani projectiles that have been hitting parts of Jammu overnight in the last 6 or 7 hours. So Jammu seems to be badly affected because of the overnight escalation of projectile, drone and missile attacks from Pakistan into India and India's response. Headline number 8, there are damaged parts of a drone that's been found in the Narsu area in Udhampur. Udhampur, of course, the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. We don't know what nature this drone is. You can see the Army officials there taking away the remnants of this. This is from Narsu area in Udhampur. Security forces are on the spot. I can report to you there is no damage to the Udhampur air station or any part of the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. Headline number 9, amid the escalating attacks by Pakistan, Indian Army has released a statement. The ADGPI has put out a statement saying that multiple armed drones were spotted flying over the Khasa cantonment in Amritsar. The hostile drones were instantly engaged and destroyed by India's air defense units. Pakistan's blatant attempt to violate the sovereignty and endanger civilians is unacceptable. And headline number 10, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has reached Rehari, which is the part where the civilian part that's been affected. 3 or 4 homes have been damaged there. There have been 5 casualties in all of Jammu. Omar Abdullah meeting with the victims, meeting with their families there, spending some time with the individuals who were affected, and of course he's now left from there. As we sort of bring you up to speed with what is happening here in the national capital, all 3 service chiefs are at the Ministry of Defence. They're in North Block right now, even as we speak. We're given to understand that further details of what the discussions are will be known as well. Remember, at 10:30 there is going to be the briefing by the Foreign Secretary. If we can have a reporter to try and get a sense of the meeting that they're having right now, and they're likely to meet with the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh as well in the next few minutes. Arunima is joining us live. Arunima, yes.
Yes, the 3 service chiefs have arrived in South Block. There is a string of briefings and meetings that is going on in South Block at the moment. The situation is now under control. The assessment part is now on. We have seen ADGPI put out details of the munition that has been used in Amritsar, drones which were carrying the munition as their payloads, the way they were taken down, and the details, the markings on the payload, all of that have been put out in the public domain. Assessment of the situation all the way from Udhampur to Jammu and also in Jaisalmer, that's on. There's a high likelihood that Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh could also meet the 3 service chiefs shortly. By afternoon, after the press conference by the Foreign Secretary has ended, there's also a possibility of the Prime Minister being briefed by the National Security Advisor and the Raksha Mantri as well. One thing that one must highlight is that the deliberate misinformation that is going on from Pakistani social media handles, most of them have been blocked by India, but international media is picking up some of those and India is countering them. One of which said that, an Indian Air Force jet has been down. Then another misinformation was that the S-400 missile system has been damaged. All of these being denied officially by Government of India.
No, Arunima was just coming to that the PIB needs to fact check things a little faster and perhaps in a little more active manner. They have been doing a fantastic job, but Pakistan's disinformation campaign continues. They are trying to claim that some brigade headquarters has been destroyed and that some bases, they've even named the airfields have been destroyed, etc. They've also said that some storage of missile based storage has also been destroyed, along with downing of jets, and like you said, some of our air defense systems being destroyed. All of these are not factual, they are all false, but there is a tendency that वो कहते हैं ना अरुणिमा, if I can say that, कि जब तक सच खड़ा होकर अपनी बात कहता है, झूठ पूरा शहर घूम के आ जाता है. So that is something which is happening, and this is a massive disinformation campaign that the Pakistanis have tried to launch, and that is something that needs to be countered far more effectively. The PIB is doing a fantastic job, but they need to be a little more quick on the counter.
Yes, and the problem is that even though we are checking and putting out information that has been verified, there are international media houses, since these are Pakistani official handles which are putting out baseless information. There are a lot of international news outlets that are picking up, quoting Pakistani sources. Let me give you a string of disinformation that has happened since early this morning. First, Pakistani media claim that the Udhampur airbase has been damaged. It has been categorically denied by the Indian Air Force and by South Block, that none of our airbases have suffered any damage, be it Pathankot, be it Jammu or Udhampur. Next, they said that in Chandigarh, a missile depot has been damaged. Again, something negated by South Block. We just spoke about the S-400 missile system. Pakistan has claimed, and international news outlets have picked this up, that our S-400 missile defense system, our air defense system has been damaged as well. Completely baseless, denied. They have put out old photographs and said that Indian fighter jets have crashed in their operation that began last night post midnight. Again, India has fact-checked, saying this is an old video which is being recirculated. So yes, both the South Bloc and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting negating the lies of Pakistan.
Right. Thanks for that, Arunima, and I think we'll continue to put that out, and kudos to the PIB. They're working very, very hard. These are times of where war is at multiple levels. Bharat is waging a war on terror, but the Pakistan military and the Pakistan state seems to have unleashed a war against Bharat itself at various levels, and they are very devious. The enemy is very devious. They will use a lot of disinformation, and their aim is to also create and divide Bharatiya people based on communal lines or other lines, and we have to mount a collective effort, a whole of Bharat approach has to be mounted. Let's quickly go across to Siddhant Mishra joining us at this point. Siddhant, Marco Rubio has picked up the phone and spoken to General Munir. What does this indicate? In the meantime, Bharat is also launching a massive non-kinetic counter because it's a diplomatic offense on the IMF bailout. So take us through what's happening on the non-kinetic front. Yes.
Well, as far as non-kinetic front is concerned, Anand, then this morning we received a statement from foreign ministers of G7 countries. In fact, they have condemned Pahalgam terror attack, and in fact, they urge both sides to de-escalate. Perhaps coming to your question, Marco Rubio is speaking directly to Asim Munir, signifies that US knows who is calling the shots in Pakistan, point number one. Point number two, last time around, Marco Rubio rejected his counterpart, Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, and spoke directly to Shehbaz Sharif. But then US also realized that nothing is going to happen because Shehbaz Sharif is a puppet prime minister. So today they decided to speak directly to Asim Munir. So this message should go out loud and clear to the world that who is running this country. Point number one. Point number two, that there was a surprise visit from Saudi Arabia, Anand. In fact, we were the first one to report that, and the Saudi Deputy Prime Minister met EM S. Jaishankar. In fact, we have also been told that he called on Prime Minister Modi, though there were no photographs released by the Indian side regarding that particular meeting. Yesterday he was in Islamabad. The pictures were released by Shehbaz Sharif's office of him and Asim Munir meeting Saudi envoy, and today Saudi Arabia has confirmed in a statement that they are giving efforts to mediate, mediate so that de-escalation can take place between India and Pakistan. We have also been told, Anand, though I don't have an independent confirmation on this, that it could be that US and Saudi Arabia both are giving joint efforts to de-escalate situation, perhaps putting pressure on Pakistan